Ta-da! What's going on, y'all? What's going on, y'all? How's everybody's Thursday? I mean Tuesday, excuse me. How's everybody's Tuesday? How y'all doing today? Well, I'm here, and it's been a crazy couple of weeks out there in YouTube, man. But hopefully we can all patch it together. Today is not like our Sunday live stream where we have all the other stuff going on. Or we have today's topic. You guys see the topic. Let me pull it up for you. Today's topic: born again women. Should they get a new start as wifey material? Born again women. Born again women. What is a born again woman? Well, first of all, why would a woman need to be born again? What would happen that would make her need to be born again? Right? Why would we need to see her as born again? Why do we need to do that? So let's take a look and see how a woman could get into a certain situation where they would need to be born again. Let's take a look.
Crystal Bassette, who was making six figures a year in the adult film industry before she decided to make a radical career shift. She became a pastor. Here's ABC's Diane Macedo.
It's Sunday morning, and Crystal Bassette cannot be late to church. The 33-year-old mother of three and her husband David are the pastors here at New Beginnings in upstate New York. And while Crystal seems to be a model Christian now, it's a relatively new role.
Today we're going to talk about fight, flight, or freeze, and have faith.
Until 3 years ago, she was a porn star.
You don't appreciate his body.
Her screen name was Nadia Hilton, and she starred in over 100 adult films.
At some point, did it all just feel normal and routine to you?
Yeah.
How do you feel about that now, looking back?
Shocked that my mind and my body got to that point where it's just like it became like this normal thing.
Crystal says it was also normal for her to make up to $30,000 a month.
Holy smokes!
You know, and that was like the starstruck thing, meeting Hugh Hefner and everybody. I mean, it was glamorous at times.
Growing up in upstate New York, Crystal says she could never have predicted the twists and turns of her life.
A teenager, I grew up. I was an honor roll student in high school. I was a varsity cheerleader. You know, I was always active that way.
But she got pregnant with her son Justin when she was just 16. So she started stripping to make money and moved to California to give her son a better life.
I grew up
Ouch!
poor, very poor.
Were you trying to give him a life that you never had?
Yes, absolutely. I was like, I wanted to give him all the things. Like, I didn't have a snowmobile, I didn't have four-wheelers, I didn't have any of that stuff as a kid.
She says an agent discovered her and convinced her to try pornography.
The first shoot was horrible. I was scared. I remember talking to a guy, and he's like, "You don't look like you really want to do this." And I was like, I don't know. I was so nervous. After the shoot, I sat in a shower and I was bawling my eyes out, crying for like 2 hours, just sitting there. Like, I just felt so gross and just dirty.
But you went back. Why?
Holy smokes!
Money. I went back for money.
I never thought I was going to get Nadia Hilton in front of my camera.
Soon
Yikes.
she was a star.
People recognized you all over the place. It was just weird, you know, because you just think about it. You know, they're recognizing me because of something that is not talent.
But the money was rolling in.
I would spend $3,000 or $4,000 a week at the mall buying dumb stuff.
We're almost done, y'all. We're almost done.
Not even
Halfway
30
through
years
it.
old, she had a house in Malibu and a Ferrari, even her own nightclub back home.
I quickly got sucked into it, and you're making more and more money, and you're spending more money.
But Crystal says despite it all, she wasn't happy.
I started taking painkillers and hydrocodone and drinking alcohol to get through the scene. I was like,
Holy
myself.
smokes!
She was also coming to grips with the sexual abuse she says she suffered as a child.
I had a bad, abusive childhood. Like, 'cause I was sexually abused by two different people as a child.
All
How did
right,
you
here
feel
we
that
go.
affected
Here we go. Here we go. Now you heard the girl say that she was sexually abused, right? See, people think these porn stars just fall out the sky. They don't. Porn stars are absolutely made. They made. Some supervillain somewhere makes these porn stars, man, and puts them in a position where they are compelled. They feel compelled to survive in that industry, right? But let's finish. Let's finish the story. I just want to know these porn stars, these women that just get into porn, they don't just fall out of the sky. Stuff happens to them, and we need to be keeping our eyes open for our little girls and our little boys.
Do you?
That I think is a huge impact on why I got into the adult industry. And I was constantly seeking for male attention that I didn't get when I was a kid.
Then in 2014, she drove home drunk.
I had to get into a car crash, broke my nose, had stitches down inside my face. My Escalade got totaled,
What did you hit?
guardrail, and it just went spinning, flipping.
It was a wake-up call, and Crystal started going to church with her sister.
I actually started reading the Bible when I was on the set.
Almost over, y'all.
I was reading then, and I hated it.
She decided to leave the porn industry for good. Getting through her final scenes was especially difficult.
I hated it because I wasn't taking pain medicine or anything like that. It was everything was sinking in. It was horrible.
And then she met the young pastor, David Bassette.
And I showed up there and I first noticed her, but she was wearing these high heels that were like crazy big. And I looked at her, I was like, man, she's got it going on. And I'm like, too tall. I'm not interested. I'm a short guy.
He was worried she might be too tall for him, but wasn't that concerned about what she did for work. So the two started dating.
And so you're a pastor, she's a porn star. That's kind of an unlikely pairing. How did that come to be? What drew you to her?
Yeah,
I like the fact that she was independent and very strong, and unfortunately probably hard to control, and I like that, so I was up for a challenge, I guess.
Did it make it harder for you knowing Crystal's past?
All right, hold on. Why would you want a woman in your life that's hard to control? You can't protect what you can't control. Why would you want a woman in your life that's difficult to control? All right, Pastor. I don't know what you got going on upstairs, but anyway, y'all, this is almost over. We got a full day. We got a full day today, y'all.
Listen, that's what Christ is about.
Armed with a degree and with David by her side, Crystal slowly rebuilt her life.
It took me a little while to find a job because your past keeps coming up. And people know, like, oh, she's that porn star, so they weren't going to hire me. I got turned away by so many different jobs because of that.
She eventually landed a job as a legal assistant, and she and David got married.
Come here. Come here.
Their son Carter came along soon after, but Crystal's past continued to haunt her. David says the negative attention they received forced him to leave his church.
Salute, Mr. B.
So a year later, they decided to start their own.
And why start your own church? Why not just join another?
Because we're called to, I didn't see that as my calling right away. I mean, I see it now, but I feel like I can help abused women in the adult industry, preaching and being able to reach out to people that are broken and lost. It's a calling.
You can't let that fear set in right away because you never know if it's something good that's happening.
And she says that past she tried so hard to shake is now an asset that helps her connect with people of all backgrounds.
With us, it's like,
thank you, Mr. B.
there was no
Appreciate you, brother.
judgment on people. People felt free. It didn't matter if you came through the doors with full body piercings and tattoos and stuff. It's like, we didn't judge them. Everybody's got a past.
For Nightline, I'm Diane Macedo in Fulton, New York.
All right, y'all. Can you go from being a porn star to a pastor and a wife? Let's get into it. Now what we gonna do? Okay. So we see that these women, man, they don't just fall out the sky, man. They get abused. They go through traumas that put them in a position, or they get the R word, they get raped, they have violations happen to them that push them into a position where they are feeling like, hey, I'm not no good. So why should anybody even deal with me, right? So that's how they feel about it, right? But can they be redeemed? Can these women be redeemed? And can the pool of dating men see? Because I'm gonna just tell you the reality. The reality of the situation is, just if you do the math, most of these women have high body counts anyway. Now, your porn star has a public body count, right? They have to keep track and stuff. They have a tracking system in place to keep track of a lot of stuff like that for porn stars. But the average woman in today's world has a high body count. You're dealing with a porn star whether you want to or not, right? But for the sake of argument, we're going to just talk about women who have a public body count, a public high body count. So the question is, how can we make this woman a new woman? If this woman wants to become a new woman and shed the old woman and be a new woman and be considered as a new woman, be considered as a wife, right? Because the average guy ain't going to want a wife as a porn star. That was a porn star or is a porn star. That's either currently in the business or was in the business. And women like that be thinking, well, how come it matters? It shouldn't matter at all, right? But it matters to men. It matters to men. That virginity and the chastity of your vagina is what your value is mostly based on, outside of your physical appearance. Outside of your physical appearance. That's why in The Color Purple, when Mr. wanted to marry the older sister, the father wouldn't give her, the father wouldn't give him the older sister. She gave her the younger sister. He wanted the younger sister. He gave her Celie, but he said she's spoiled. What does spoiled mean? Spoiled means that she's already been having sex. She's not a virgin no more. That's why he said she's spoiled, right? Because he's the one that incestualized her and gave her a son that they sent to Africa, and he eventually came back and they reunited. But I'm just saying, according to the movie, right? But the point is, he says she's spoiled. Why is she spoiled? Because her vagina is not untouched, right? If her vagina is not untouched, she's spoiled. That's what they would say back then, right? But how can this woman be regenerated or redeemed, right? What's redeemed? What does the word redeemed mean? That means you've been deemed worthy of this, the title of wife. You deemed, we look at you and we judge you based on the social construct to be deemed worthy of being called a wife. But now you not. Hey Rico, I'm gonna get to you in a minute, brother. When I get to the question and answer, let me set this all up, and then I'm gonna bring you guys up. So the person is deemed able to be labeled a wife, right? But what happens when a person needs to be redeemed? That means they've been undeemed worthy of being a wife, so they have to be redeemed worthy, right? How do they be redeemed? How do they be redeemed? Well, they say you got to be born again. What does that mean, born again? Let's read. Let's read from the King James Version. Let's read John 3 from the King James Version. Let me share the screen with y'all. Let's read John 3 from the King James Version. Let's find out how can we get born again? We need to be born again, right? Especially if we're a porn star trying to be we need to be born again, right? How can we be born again? Let us do it. Let's find out how can we be born again. Let's read. John 3. There was a man of the Pharisees named Nicodemus, a ruler of the Jews. The same came to Jesus by night and said unto him, Rabbi, we know that thou art a teacher come from God, for no man can do these miracles that thou doest, except God be with him. Jesus answered unto him, saying, Verily, verily, I say unto thee, except a man be born again. So here's the reference. Except a man be born again, he or she cannot see the kingdom of God. Okay? The kingdom of God. What's the kingdom of God? That's where things go the way they're supposed to go. Things go the way they're supposed to go in the kingdom of God. In the kingdom of the devil, things are the opposite way. Things don't go the way they're supposed to go, right? Certain things happen, right? People sleep with animals. People sleep with children. Things happen that the way they're not supposed to go, right? Okay. Nicodemus saith unto him, how can a man be born when he is old? Can he enter the second time into his mother's womb and be born? Good question. That was a good question. If Jesus told the man, hey, the only way you can see righteous things and be in a righteous environment is if you change your mind and be born again, right? Well, he didn't say change your mind. He didn't go into it, but he said you got to be born again, right? So Nicodemus said, hey, man, what are you talking about, right? Can he, you know what I mean? Can he enter the second time into his mother's womb and be born? That was a good question. Jesus answered, verily, verily, I say unto thee, except a man be born of water and of the Spirit. What's water? Your thoughts. Your thought, how your brain delivers and moves information is through electricity and water in your brain. That's how thought, that's what thought is, electricity and water moving in the brain, right? We would talk that lying makes the water in the brain go backward. It degrades the brain, but that's a whole nother story. And of the Spirit. He cannot enter the kingdom of God. So he told him again, hey, you got to be born again in the water and the Spirit. So that means you got to be born again in your head and in your spirit. You got to have the spirit of doing good. You got to have thoughts of doing good, right? Oh, man. That which is born of the flesh is flesh, and that which is born of the Spirit is spirit. Marvel not that I said unto thee, ye must be born again. The wind bloweth where it listeneth, and thou hearest the sound thereof, but canst not tell whence it cometh or whither it goeth. So are you saying, hey, man, you just see the wind, it just comes and goes, right? You can't tell where the wind started at, and you can't tell where it's going to stop at. So everyone that is born of the Spirit, that is born of the Spirit, meaning everybody got a past and everybody got a future, right? But you can't tell because when they get born of the Spirit, they just born of the Spirit. They just out here to do what they're supposed to do, right? Come on, y'all. Come on, hang in there with me. Hang in there. I'm just getting warmed up. Hang in there with me. I'm gonna get there. Nicodemus answered, saying unto them, how can these things be? Jesus answered unto him, art thou a master of Israel, and knowest not these things? Yeah, how can you be so? You supposed to be over all these Israelis, and you don't know this stuff, right? Verily, verily, I say unto thee, we speak that we do know, and testify that we have seen, and ye receive not our witness. Meaning, hey, we've been trying to tell y'all this stuff, but y'all ain't been listening. Y'all ain't been getting what we've been saying. That's why y'all living y'all up under the Romans, because y'all living the way y'all living. If I have told you earthly things and ye believe not, how shall you believe if I tell you of heavenly things? Yeah, man, you can't even get the stuff I'm telling you now. How are you gonna get it when I tell you stuff that's really out your wheelhouse? Come on, y'all. Come on, y'all. So how is this person going to turn around? Right? We got men and women walking around out here and they out of their minds. So they need a new spirit. They need a new thinking process. Stay with me, stay with me, stay with me. I'm going to get there. I'm going to get there. And no man hath ascended up to heaven, but he that come down from heaven, even the Son of Man, which is in heaven, right? And as Moses lifted up the serpent in the wilderness, even so must the Son of Man be lifted up, right? Okay, so you're gonna have to believe that this man that is supposed to be doing all of these things is actually doing them in a good way and coming from a good place. If you believe in that, then we got common ground for you to go. Whatever religion you believe in, if you believe that this man came and he's doing these good things and he's coming from a good place, then now we got a place where we can start from, right? Even the person that is a quote unquote whore or a woman of a fallen woman, right? Whosoever believeth in him should not perish. What does that mean? You're not going to die? Of course you're going to die. Of course you're going to die. You're not going to perish, meaning you're not going to be forgotten. You're not going to be, your spirit is going to live in other people because it's going to be a righteousness. It's going to be a collective righteousness, but have eternal life. For God so loved the world, he gave his only begotten son, that whosoever believeth in him should not perish, but have everlasting life. Many ways to go there, but I'm not going to even break that down because I want to get to the point where how we can, as people, as a woman in particular, how a woman can be redeemed. How can a woman be redeemed? We got to get to that. We got to get to it. We almost there. We almost there, y'all. For God sent his son into the world to condemn for God sent not his son into the world to condemn the world, but that the world through him might be saved, right? That he that believeth on him is not condemned, but he that believeth not is condemned already. Hey, man, if I'm telling you 2 + 2 is 4, and you think 2 + 2 is 86, eventually you're going to run into a ditch. You know what I'm saying? So you already put yourself out there. I'm just telling you how to do it the right way. Because he hath not believed in the name of the only begotten Son of God. And this is condemnation, that light is come into the world, and men love darkness rather than light. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Does your woman love darkness rather than light? Many of these women love darkness rather than light. Where do you meet most of these women? In these dark clubs, right? In these dark bars, right? Come on, talk to me, somebody. Talk to me. Maybe I'm talking crazy. Talk to me. Maybe you out here meeting women where it's all lit up, right? But most of us are not. Most of us meeting these women in dark places. So they say men love darkness rather than light because their deeds were evil. Their thoughts were evil, so their deeds are evil. Man, I'm just talking crazy. Anyway, let's finish up, y'all. For everyone that doeth and eat, because when I finish this, then we really gonna get into it. For everyone that doeth evil hateth the light, never cometh to the light, lest his deeds should be reproved. Yeah, you don't want nobody to tell you, hey, you did this wrong, you did this wrong. None of us want to be told we did wrong, right? And the bad things we do, we want them hidden. And the good things we do, we want them out on the front street, right? But he that doeth truth cometh to the light, that his deeds may be made manifest, that they are wrought in God. That, hey, he walking in the light. God gave him the light, and he trying to show, hey, everything I do is based on what God told me, right? After these things came Jesus and his disciples into the land of Judea, and there he tarried with them and baptized. And John also was baptizing in Enon near Salem, and because there was much water there, and they came and were baptized, they meaning the people, for John was not yet cast into prison. Then there arose a question between some of John's disciples and the Jews about purifying. And they came up unto John and said unto him, Rabbi, he was with thee beyond Jordan, to whom thou bearest witness. Behold, the same baptizes, and all men come to him. Okay, so that's telling you, John was baptizing, Jesus was baptizing. They two different camps. At this point, they two different camps, right? But if they work together, they're going to get a lot more done, and they'll meet each other down the road, right? They basically saying, hey, there's another dude pushing your same program. The program you pushing about this dude, that dude he's down there doing the same thing you doing, right? Ye yourselves bear me witness that I said, I am not Christ. He said, hey, bro, I never told you I was the Christ. I just told you I'm baptizing you in his name. So don't get it twisted, but that I am sent before him. He that hath the bride is the bridegroom, but the friend of the bridegroom, which standeth and heareth him, rejoiceth greatly because of the bridegroom's voice. This is my joy, therefore is fulfilled. Hey, man, I'm just a dude. I'm just a man standing next to the man. I ain't the man. I'm the man standing next to the man standing next to the man. Y'all don't hear me. He must increase, but I must decrease. Hey, that means, hey, my job was to precede this man. I'm the trumpet player in the front of the parade. But once I get done, now the parade begins. and then the real action gonna happen, right? He that cometh from above is above all. He that is of the earth is earthly, and speaketh of earth. He that cometh from heaven is above all. And when he hath seen and heard, that he testifieth, and no man receiveth his testimony. Meaning he's going to do all of this work, and not that many people gonna listen. Not that many people gonna listen, bro. I know I'm living that. He that receiveth his testimony has set to his seal that God is true. Yeah, his seal. What is it? His seal? His mind. He has said it. It's done. It's sealed. It's sealed. God is true. He already know God's for real. For he whom and woman for he whom God has sent speaketh the words of God. For God giveth not the Spirit by measure unto him. Right. So that's saying, hey, for he whom God hath sent speaketh the words of God. Okay. God giveth not the Spirit by measure. So he can keep on talking and talking and talking. He ain't never gonna get tired and run out of stuff to say about God. The Father loveth the Son and hath given all things into his hand. He that believeth on the Son hath everlasting life, and he that believeth not on the Son shall not see life, but the wrath of God abideth on him. Woo, we got through it, y'all. We got through it. Okay, what does all this mean? What does all this mean? Why? Oh, appreciate everybody in the chat. Why? Why does a woman want to be redeemed? Why does she want to be, do people want to be redeemed, but especially a woman? What is the issue with a woman having a high body count, and instead of just marrying, why does a woman want to be looked at as a new woman? Because of what I just read, to you. And how is she going to be able to do it? How is she going to be able to do it? She ain't going to be able to do it, right? She's going to have to follow a certain type of procedure so that men could look at her and still think, man, I look at her and I see a wife, even though I saw her as a woman of the evening or a fallen woman. Now I see her as a woman to be handled, right? I got something else for y'all, man. I didn't just come here to talk to y'all. You think I came here just to talk to y'all? No, man, I got a couple things before I'm gonna open it up. I got some questions for y'all. I need y'all to help me answer some of these questions. I need y'all to help me answer some of these. I guess I did it. I guess that's what I want to put on the table. What do y'all think? Man? I'm gonna put the link out, man, and I'm gonna ask some questions, man. And I need some help, man. I'm trying to find out, how can we get these women to be considered valuable? How can we get, okay, so let me go into this real quick. So women have what is called I see you, Brother Arshan. What people have, what I consider two values. Most women have what I consider two values, right? They have the sexual market value and they have the long-term relationship value, right? This is how, in my opinion, this is how men think. Men will consider you first they got to consider you having a good, high enough sexual market value, and then they won't even consider you for the long-term relationship value if your sexual market value is not that high, right? But certain things that give you a high sexual market value may be a stinger on the other side of the long-term relationship value. For example, the fact that you are a single mom might have an issue. That shows that you're sexually active. That's good in the sexual market value. But on the long-term relationship value, do I want to help raise another man's child? That's a serious question. Some guys are with it, some guys are not. These are all different things that have to be asked, have to be considered. We're going to ask some questions. Y'all tell us if we wrong. Tell us if we want to, what y'all think about it. Brother Rico, what's going on with you, man?
Good evening, Brother Clarence. Happy to be here with you, sir. Very happy to be here with you always.
Thank you, brother. Let me scoot down this chat real quick, brother Reek. Hold on 1 second. Tony Moore, laugh out loud. Good to see you in the building, brother. Already shouted out brother Rush. Tony Moore says, if you can't deal with the little ish, you can't deal with the big ish. You know, you see it. You see it right there, brother Tony. Now it's making sense. I get you. Brother Arshawn. Hey, brother Clarence, sorry, was doing some writing, couldn't message. No problem, brother. No problem. Just glad to have you in the building, brother Arshawn. You can go do what you're doing, listen. A lot of people, listen and just be washing dishes or whatever, man, cooking for the children or whatever, right? All right, brother Rick. I got some questions, man. I got some questions.
I got a couple myself. I'm actually in here with a question.
Okay. You shoot.
First. I was listening to what you were saying and the whole redemption thing, and it sort of got me to thinking. Like you said, the question it's predisposed as a woman having a high body count.
Yes.
Bad choices. But I'm trying to figure out how do those decisions make a woman irredeemable, especially in a biblical sense? So is just the act, if the act of sexual promiscuity makes a woman irredeemable, and we know these guys out here have body counts at a 10-to-1 ratio to women, probably. Why are they not irredeemable as well?
That's a good question, brother.
I mean, if I got 100 bodies and she's got 10, if she's irredeemable for 10, what am I?
That's a good question.
So that's why I just think I'm almost to the point where I'm like, I don't even think those things like the body count makes a woman irredeemable. I don't even ascribe to the high body count nonsense. Clearly, anybody knowing the ratio of male to female sexual promiscuity, and we just say it's all right for a guy, and I'm like, that's just not really the way it's supposed to be.
Yeah,
it's just scientifically, biblically, none of us is supposed to be engaging in fornication short of being married and trying to reproduce. So the Bible, if we're going to get into heaven or hell based on the Bible, we ain't going to heaven with a 10-to-1 body count. That's what we're telling ourselves here, and that's a mistake. So we even started there, and the bad decisions. Again, that's the same thing where I'm like, well, how does that make them irredeemable when I can think of, and I'm not putting it on the men. I don't even think if men didn't have anything to do with it, I don't even think those decisions should make a woman any less of a value than if she got a high body count, low body count. That's not how you ascribe their value to me.
Well, Rick, let me ask you a question. And good to have you in the building, Brother Rush. But let me ask you a question, or both of y'all a question. Let me ask both of y'all a question. If body count shouldn't be an issue or shouldn't be a factor in decision making of a woman, then how come it is? Because we got to be real. It is. So how did we get there? How did we get there?
I acknowledge it is. It's never been for me. I ain't never asked nobody. I don't want to ask nobody. I don't know. I don't know my wife's body count. I don't know my body count. To me, it's just I all of a sudden I woke up one day and it's all the rage. But I'm like, I don't know where. I didn't grow up. When I grew up, we thought if we saw a woman acting in a very promiscuous way, she was fast, this, that, whatever. But if you didn't see it, if we saw a little fast tail girl with everybody, yes, if we saw. So for me, I think when I was coming up, it was more about the behavior that she expressed. She's too flirty. She's too this, that. Those are things that spoke to her character, was her behavior, the way she dressed, the mini skirts too short, heels too high, too much makeup. And some of those women had a 0 body count.
Okay.
So that's how we would ascribe her as a woman of low character, and she ain't slept with nobody because she just looked fast. But now they're saying the body count, and I'm like, you're leaving it up to them. If she's honest, you know, and the woman who has the highest body count, you could probably never even tell because she's not, you know, she's just not rolling like that. So I don't know how it got like that. It is. I don't agree it is. I only heard it when I come into these manosphere spaces. I'll be honest with you. I haven't heard it outside of that. I'm just haven't. I mean, I know dudes, if they see it, they got a problem with. But if they don't
exactly.
See it,
okay.
Mr. Rush.
Let's ask Rush, Brother Rush. He's a younger brother. He's still out there, man, moving and grooving, shaking and baking. So, Brother Rush, does a woman's body count, if that information is available to you, does that make a difference to you?
Yeah, it would make a difference to any man.
Why?
It makes a difference because one, from our natural carnal mindset, like from back in the day, if a woman was caught stepping out, you know, that she would be shamed as a slut. And that back then they didn't have like the DNA testing and all that. You know, the way they knew that woman was not stepping out or was not promiscuous is because her hymen wasn't broken half. You know what I mean?
But
she was still pure.
Can we take it off of the DNA, because we just talking about women sleeping around, and then the hymen thing? I know but that doesn't. That the hymen speaks to virginity. It doesn't speak to body count. So she could be a virgin with one body, the hymen can be broke, or she can be 200.
Well, were her hymen still being intact? That just show her discipline. You know what I mean? She's not like.
Yeah, but that shows virginity.
I'm just saying that's how guys would know.
Something out there, brothers. Let me throw something out there about the hymen. The Native Americans, when they would marry, they would put a cloth under the woman, and if there was no blood on that cloth on the wedding night, bad news for the wife. Bad news for the wife. So just to let y'all know how important that is, not just in our generation, but it has been back in the day. Okay, brother. Sorry to interrupt you, brother.
But that speaks to virginity, correct?
Correct.
I just want to be clear, you know, the frame.
Yeah, if you want to take it there, but not only if a female is sleeping around, and you suspect it, you know, and also it lets men know about, you know, like paternity fraud and all that. I mean, you know, like those things you got to be, those things you got to be worried about, because, you know, if your chick's sleeping around and you're overlooking that, then you're gonna have some issues down the line, whether if, you know, the child's not yours or whether you catch a disease or not. I mean,
but Mr. Rush, what I think we trying to get to is this. Okay, let's leave the children out of it, because I don't want to make it about paternity. It's just about, do you guys actually believe that most of the chicks that you don't see doing anything got a low body count? So you meet a young lady, she hot, she fire, she dope, she this, that, whatever. She ain't got no kids. Do you believe that woman has a low body count because you have no evidence of anything else? That's what I want to ask you, sir.
No, but my phone, I just received a phone call and the volume is messed up. I gotta log off and log back on.
Okay.
My bad.
No.
I really want to chop it up on this one. I'll be right back.
We'll be here, sir. We'll be here waiting on you, sir.
Yeah.
Come back. Yeah, so that's just my premise of my question, Clarence. It's like I'm trying to get from him to explain to me, how do y'all assign a body count for what you don't know, short of the woman telling you? Now, I get the whole paternity. I even get the hymen, which I don't think most guys would know if the hymen's intact.
Right, yeah.
Whatever.
Today's world.
But
Yeah.
whatever. But
Right.
if you get past that, that still doesn't tell you anything remotely about that woman's body count, short of her being honest. And I'm
Okay,
just go ahead.
let me ask you this, Rick. Do you think that you can tell about a woman's body count by her personality and the way she may conduct herself may give you some indication of the kind of lifestyle she's been living sexually?
Yeah, absolutely. I believe based on a woman's behavior and a man's behavior. I
Okay.
believe on both. I mean, it's not going to give you a body count, but it'll tell you whether or not, okay, they about that life, they about that business. Again, like I said, you look at things as far as their dress. And it's kind of funny though, because you got to be careful because certain cultures dress very provocatively as well.
Okay.
So, certain cultures, the women dress very provocatively.
Okay.
So it's just a part of their culture. So you got to be careful there too. But then you also have to look at, like I said, so I don't describe it all: the dress, behavior. It's the woman going out clubbing every night. It's a series of things, and it's still not going to tell me if she's got 2 bodies or 20.
Right.
But I'll be like, well, she's had an opportunity to have 20 bodies
Right.
or 50 bodies. She might only had 2. There are some women who just generally like to live a very active social life. They love to flirt. You can be in a committed relationship, and some women flirt a lot to try to make the boyfriend jealous and drive him crazy and stuff like that, which is kind of silly. But when I was young, we've been young before, Clarence.
Right.
Some of the things that they do.
Yeah.
But I still don't see where, for me, I've never knew anybody's body count. Nobody ever told me. And if I asked anybody, they was going to tell me what they wanted to tell me.
Right.
And I had no choice but to believe it.
Right.
And if they told me one, I know it's more. You can give me, you got one body count with 4 kids. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But
maybe, man, maybe that's possible. It's possible.
Okay, none of them don't look alike, right? 4 kids with different ethnic backgrounds, but you got one body. I'm like, okay, great. But and that was it. There's no test for body count. So even with Mr. Rush, I was like, yeah, okay, you could do a test for paternity. I guess you can kind of test for a hymen if you want.
Right.
There's no test for body count.
Right.
And you can't tell me these guys will be like, oh, I know. I'm like, no, you don't. Stop saying that. There's no definitive way of knowing, short of that you were there with them with every encounter.
Yeah.
And then, I just want to know where we at in the space. When I met my wife, I just want to know where we at. Okay, right. What's your body count moving forward?
Right.
I don't, and don't ask me about nothing that I did before I met you. Ain't none of your business.
Right.
It just isn't. I'm not gonna lie to you, but I'm not gonna tell you either.
Yeah. Well, I got a good question for you, Rick. But hold on, let me get through these chats real quick.
Yes, sir.
Tony Moore, depends on if an end hit the first night. If she's smashing you the first night, then she's smashing everybody the first night. Wow.
That's a good indicator, but I don't know if it's 100%. She might really be into you, Mr. Moore, but that's a good indicator. That's a good indicator. You ain't giving yourself no game, Mr. Moore. You might be that Mac Daddy, sir.
You never know, man.
You ain't. Yeah, I'm just saying.
You never know.
But I agree. It's a good indicator.
Yeah, I mean, at least you can have your eyes open. Tony Moore, you'll never get the exact number because she'll never tell you a number. Then you got to multiply by 10. She'll tell you a number. You got to multiply by 3. Excuse me. Okay, so you got to multiply by 3. My thing is, one more. Tony Moore, but you can tell if females is a hoe or a good girl. Who talks like this, bro? Brother Tony, come on, man. They're either far left or far right.
I don't know.
All right, brother. All right. I got a question for you, brother Tony, and a question for Rico.
Mm-hmm.
When is it a good time to ask a woman, or is it Should you ask a woman for her body count? And if you do, when is the right time to ask a woman about her body count if you think, hey, I should ask for a body count? But first of all, should you even ask a woman about her body count? Do you really want that information?
Yeah. And that's where I land is that, if that's a question you're going to ask, I would tell a guy, ask day one the first time you meet her. If that's a question you're going to ask, because don't get, it would be a terrible thing to be emotionally invested in someone. You spent a lot of time. You guys been dating for several weeks. You become emotionally invested. Like I said, she really, rocks your boat. And then all of a sudden, she going to tell you something that's going to hurt your feelings.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So I would rather, I'm not asking because I don't care. Right. But if it was that important to me, I'm gonna ask out the gate, because evidently for the gentleman who asked, it's a factor in their decisions as to who they want to date or get serious with. And then I don't understand this either. If a woman got too high of a body count, for you to have a relationship, why isn't that body count too high for you to want to hit, Mr. Moore? So I mean, like, if she got 1,000 bodies and she's a straight hoe and you don't want to wife her or boo her up, why are you even trying to hit that? But they don't tell you that. They don't tell you, because it depends on what she look like, right?
But Rick, so it's like I said in the beginning of the broadcast, there's two values. There's a sexual market value and there's a long-term relationship value. And the sexual market value might be high, but the long-term relationship value is low.
But why? Why is the sexual market value okay for a high body count? And so that's what I'm saying. It's like, whoever came up with this synopsis need to tell me why all of a sudden, okay, as long as she's a baddie, she got 1,000 bodies. I was like, I don't care if she's a baddie. Why do you want somebody with 1,000 bodies? Because if 1,000 body is a derogatory state to be in, it's a derogatory state to be in no matter what, unless you just unless you're a porn star. If you're a porn star, you don't care, because the people you work with, they got high body counts. Unless you're into the lifestyle, which I've dibbled and dabbled in that for a number of years. Y'all don't know what a condom is. Y'all think that's a ketchup pack. Cut it out. Knock it off. I think that's a ketchup pack, Mr. Moore. But that's what I'm saying.
Hey, Rick, Rick, you saying when we was young, brother, you're saying that there wasn't women where we said, man, she bad, but man, I ain't bringing this woman home to my mama.
Yeah. No. There were plenty of those.
That's where you coming from, brother.
But those were not women that because, again, if I saw a super bad chick, and if I didn't usually, but come on, Clarence, we didn't have the internet, we didn't have the social media, so how would we access their body count? We had no way. Now those were young ladies like that we didn't bring home because they were just problems.
Right.
They were problems for reasons other than a body count, because we didn't know what the body count was.
Yeah.
It was like they're argumentative. They, my mama had to fight her.
Right.
She too fast. Even though I like the real short skirt and the booty shorts, my mama not gonna like it. So that's why I said there's a long list of reasons that we ascribe that in our mind, we may have said we think she fast, we think she's sleeping around with everybody, but we just had no way of promiscuous. Exactly. If they're very promiscuous, it's like, I can't have you around my mama. I may not mind, but my mama gonna care.
Well, that's what I'm saying. But see, don't you think your mama's gonna see you might be caught up?
Right.
So, okay, let me say this. Women are good at initiating and keeping a sexual tension high in relationships, right? And so sometimes they keep their sexual tension so high, we're not able to recognize that things are bad. This is not a good situation for us to be in, right?
That's true.
But
Agreed.
if you take her home to your mama will say, oh, okay, baby, that girl ain't no good. Rico, I'm trying to tell you, leave that girl alone, right?
That was my
your
first
mama
two
will
wives.
see through the dust, right?
Yeah, both of my wives, the first two wives.
Your mama will see through the dust, right?
Yeah.
And you know, your mama will see. So that's what I'm saying, brother. So that's why there's certain girls that we know already about our mama. We know how our mama is. We just not gonna take them over there because. Go ahead, Rick.
Here's the question I'll push back on you, Brother Clarence, though.
All right.
What'll happen in that case, whether it's your mother, your father, even your brothers? The problem we have is if you're interested in that person, like you said, you're in a space, you're not in an objective space. So when she comes around your mama ain't into it like you is. Like you said, you and I, when I was younger, that behind, them legs, that pretty face, and the hair and the chest.
Well, let me stop you, Rick. Let me throw this in there, man. And let you finish.
Go ahead.
Okay, I'm only bringing her to my mama because I'm considering her for something long term. All right. Okay. So this ain't somebody that I'm just, smashing and dashing. This is somebody who I'm considering trying to move past the smash and dash stage. All right. So let me just qualify what we're talking about. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead.
Now
brother.
let me ask you a question.
All right.
How often have you brought somebody to your mother that your mother disapproved of that you kicked to the curb? Because what we tend to do is this: as men, you've already become very enamored of what you see because we're lustful beasts.
Right.
That's what we are. Mm-hmm. And once that, like you said, the woman can keep the sexual tension high. So she got you. She done probably maybe done dropped it on you a few times. So your judgment is clouded. Your judgment is clouded. So when you bring them to your mother, even though your mother or your family may be in opposition, mama, you don't understand. You can't see it. And I can't think of but maybe once ever that my mother objected, that I went with it. And my mother was always right. But I just, your judgment is clouded. And even in that one instance, the girl said something to my mother and she kind of kicked me to the curb because she ain't like my mother anyway. Right. So I would be batting 0 for 1,000 because, we didn't have, again, like I said, we didn't have the tool. And the tool, our whole meter was our mother's.
Right.
It was the one to be able to say that girl fast, she ain't no good, whatever. But what I also know, I know very few guys that even though they got that sage advice, because we can't see it,
right?
We didn't necessarily listen to that advice. And I know a lot of guys went on and married these girls, and they divorced and everything else.
Oh, yeah.
And all our mamas was right, but it was just like we just had to do it.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man. Let me run through these chats, Rick. Mm-hmm. Tony Moore, you have them kinds that you check the red roof, not mama's house. I agree. You have women that you know that this is going to be a short-term experience, and you deal with them like that. Brother Tony Moore, if she let me hit the first night, I'm no longer interested. Yeah, man. That's unfortunately. That's a double-edged sword for most women because most women want to keep your interest, and sometimes they just feeling you. Sometimes you meet somebody and you on the same page, with the vibration, man, and she just say, "F it, I'm gonna go for it."
And and look at the number of guys that act like they're gonna lose their mind if they don't get it on the first night.
Right.
So it ain't like I don't know of any women that offered it to me on the first night. I know a few that gave it to me, but I was always right. None of them has ever sitting there and say, "This is the first night I just feel like giving you some cat." That's never been a conversation that ever been had with me. It was usually after me begging for a few hours. Okay, we just gonna lay down and just hug. You know how it is, brother. Man, we ain't gonna do nothing. We just gonna lay down and hug and cuddle.
Hey, man, Rick, these dudes don't know how in the 80s, man, you had to work, man. You had to put the work into it, man. It ain't like it is now, man. Now you ain't got to do nothing, man. You could be on the bus and get some now. Man, back in the 80s, man, you had to put some work into it, brother.
You ain't had no
You had to have a
text. You
gimmick
had to beg
or
your ass off.
you had to have something going on, man. You had to have a car, a gimmick, something, man. You to pull them in, man.
And they be there talking about, I'm gonna lay down, but I'm not gonna take my clothes off.
Yeah, right. You had to, man. You had to be.
You had to,
brother. You had to be tactical, strategical. You know, you had to do it all, brother. You had to have. That's why I guess, man, we just have much better skills than these new dudes, man, because they just be like, huh, what?
Yeah.
And but the women now, man, a lot of them, not all of them, but a lot of them now, man, yeah, they don't have to do hardly nothing, man, hardly nothing.
But I think we still keep coming back with the you know, the whole body count thing is, again, I don't think, even though these young gentlemen, they discuss it, I don't think any of them ever been told the truth. So I'm like, okay, so you just want an answer to make you feel good about yourself. So if she tell you 3 and she done had 103, that makes you feel better and you go forward, then why even ask when you know they gonna lie? Because I can guarantee you, whatever she tell you, she decreased it substantially.
I agree with you in this point. Don't ask. Don't ask. It's just not worth. It's just not worth going down that river. That's like the whole, you know, is this the biggest unit you ever seen? Of course. What do you think she's gonna say? Yes. Or if she tell you the truth, right? But if she tell you the truth and say no, now you're gonna have a problem. It's just a bad sort. You're not gonna win on either side. It's better just to leave it alone and judge her on the person, right? Judge her as a person, and then you know, I still say you want to make sure she's living a lifestyle where, you know, you're not compromising your health. That's where I think the body count comes in, as far as you want to make sure that she's not actively involved in a lifestyle where she's jumping on different dudes. I was watching something this morning, Reek, about this lady, man, sister, man. She known this dude for 5 years, man, and married him in the 4th year, and was married to the dude. And all of a sudden, after about a year after the marriage, she had already had a baby for the dude. She had one baby already outside the marriage, and then she had one baby in the marriage, right? So after the first baby, she had this cough that wouldn't stop, man. She just couldn't get rid of this cough. She was like, man, why am I keep coughing? Let me go to the doctor and find out what's going on. So she goes to the doctor, and the doctor tells her, hey, everything looks good. Everything looks good. I just need to talk to you about something. Can you tell your husband to step out of the room? So the lady's like, oh, well, okay. You know, she's thinking it's like something feminine, female oriented. So she says, hey, can you step out? So brother steps out the room, and the doctor says, hey, I didn't want to say anything in front of your husband, but you're HIV positive. She goes, what? She goes, yeah, you HIV positive. She goes, well, he's the only one that gave it to, because he's the only one I've ever been with. So it has to be, you know, with him. Come to find out, the brother was bisexual. Brother was living a bisexual lifestyle, right? The brother was living a bisexual lifestyle. Didn't say anything to her that he was continuing to live that way, right? He knew he was HIV positive when he married her. Didn't say anything, right?
Wow.
Okay, so she found out, hey man, that's a felony, man. I think that's a felony. Assault with a deadly weapon. I think that's
a felony if you know and you don't tell your partner. If you tell them, you're fine, but if you don't tell them.
Yeah. I think it's the assault with a deadly weapon. I think it's a charge, right? So, or I think they've changed it now to having something to do with actual HIV, but it used to be assault with a deadly weapon. Anyway, so she ended up divorcing this cat, man, and she ended up going to the police because she found out, hey, that's a felony charge. That's a criminal charge. So she didn't want nobody else to get caught up. So she went to the police. Dude got 5 years in prison, man.
Yeah, his ass should have.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is, if she would have been maybe more paying attention to the way he was moving as a man and his body count and his sexuality,
Right, but that what you're saying, it goes back to, like you said, the observation of a person's behavior. Because, like I said, he could have been, his body count could have been 2, her and whatever dude he was with.
Right.
It didn't have to be, like you said, it could have been just, oh, I just got a boyfriend I'm just wildly in love with, and we having all this rampant, unprotected sex. You know, he didn't have to have a high body count, but the behavior is what I think that's all you really got.
Okay, well, let's do it like this.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that, this is my opinion. I'm gonna ask you two, brother, and anybody in the chat. I don't think that women are as flustered about body counts for men as men are for women. And
Exactly.
if so, why not?
Exactly.
Why aren't women as upset over it? Why not? Come on, Rick. Why not?
I don't know. I think they accept
Listen. Women know that they have access to sex a lot more than the average male. You know what I mean? If you look at the average female's DM, she getting damn near 100 messages by 100 different simps. You know what I mean? So they already know that they got the leverage over that when it comes to having sex, because they could literally have sex on demand. You know what I mean? Which the average man, he got to put in work for that.
But Mr. Rush, that's the problem with this, though. I agree with you 1,000% that the women have a far greater access to sex. But I think women use more discernment as to who they sleep with. Men will, forgive my French, anything that moves.
We wouldn't have a case of a large percentage of single mothers running around there.
We're not talking about them having kids. We're talking, we have a large case of single mothers, and they all could have slept with one person. What I'm saying is this: if a woman, as you say, in her DM, she got 100 men in there, right?
Mm-hmm.
She might say, okay, it's 100, but I don't like all of them. I'm only going to sleep with 5 of them. If a guy get 15 DMs, he fucking all 15 of them. That's what I'm saying. I have yet to see a dude turn down. Let me finish. Remember TLA and all the other ones? We all got stories of women we slept with that we all found highly undesirable.
Right.
I got a lot of them.
Right.
Because as a man, and I mean, you got to be honest with here, Mr. Rush. That's why I said to say, if a woman get 100 options, she may select 5. If a man get 15, he fucking 16. We gonna
I disagree.
Because that's what we do, and we got to be honest.
Listen, the average female has way more high body count than the average male.
I can't accept that.
I don't know. I don't know, man.
I can't accept that.
I mean, you guys can't. Hold on. You guys can't see it because y'all from a different era. But from the things what I see was going on now, trust me, a female is way more sexually experienced than a male.
Wow.
Hands down.
Wow.
But experience doesn't speak to count.
Oh yes, it does.
No, I mean,
listen, man. The reason why it's unacceptable to deal with a chick that has a high body count, one, she loses the capability to coexist with one male. She can't do that because that. A female that has a high body count and that uses dildos, she's trying to reenact the male that actually got her off. You know what I mean? Okay. So she's always going to be chasing that certain level of climax. That's why you can't wife up these women that has a high body count because of that, and they lose the ability to pair bond with their spouse. You know what I mean?
So, do you believe in the premise of? Do you agree that there are men who can have sex for nothing more than sexual pleasure, sexual satisfaction? Do you agree with that?
What do you mean? Do you mean that
I just want sex? I don't want any.
Yeah. You're talking to one of the. You're talking to a male that does that. I do not get emotionally attached to women. But I mean, once I get what I need, I'm on to the next.
Right. Okay. but do you believe that there's the existence of women out there that are the same way, or do you believe that?
Well, if a female has that kind of ability, then you're in trouble. Either she is a nympho or she is a prostitute. The average female cannot sleep around without getting that emotional attachment, not for a long period of time. A female cannot do that. She might do it for a little bit, but she can't do it all the time.
Question: where did y'all get that from, though? I'm just curious. I mean, I've heard that, and I hear you say it, and I'm not disputing it because I don't have any evidence to the contrary. But I'm just trying to figure out where is that coming from, that women who are also human beings, just like men, cannot seek sexual satisfaction.
Okay, I'll explain with my personal experience.
Okay.
I was dealing with 3 females. All of them are friends. All of them are married. Right?
Oh.
Yeah. Hold on. All of them are married. Mm-hmm. We go out, we meet, woo, right? I end up smashing 2 of them, right? Now, when I was smashing 2 of them, they didn't know and from the beginning but you know, later down the line, they end up finding out or whatever, right? But I didn't know they were married. You want to know how I found out they were married? Okay. I went to a house party that my friend invited me to, right? And I seen both of them, and I had a date with me, right? And when I walked in, they was both shocked to see me at this party because they knew I knew the same people that they knew on that personal level, right? So you know what happened? None of them didn't say nothing. They act like they didn't know me. They played the part, and right. You know what I mean? That just show you how, that just show you how grimy these chicks can move, man. You know what I mean?
But what if I
can tell you they have no idea.
What if I could tell you that I have also anecdotal evidence of a lot of women in my past that I have slept with that purely I was nothing but a fuckboy for. I mean, they had no interest in me beyond that. I mean, they didn't pay me, so I wasn't a prostitute because I wasn't getting paid. But they just
listen. This wasn't. When I was smashing these 2 chicks. Mm-hmm. When I was smashing these 2 chicks, it wasn't not no one-time thing, man. This was months into you. It was like damn near a relationship. You know what I mean? And I had no idea they were married, man.
But
you know
doesn't that go against your argument that they weren't emotionally attached because they already had a spouse? So that means obviously they didn't care about you for nothing but sex. What else did they want you for? They got a husband. Ain't none of them asked to marry your ass. None of them left your husband.
Yeah, I know. But I said listen.
Like they didn't know you.
Listen. I didn't say they couldn't do it. They could probably do it for a short span of time. They can't do it like a dude is naturally. It's natural for me to move the way that I move because it's in my genetics. Like my psyche is not gonna be messed up if I sleep with 1,000 women. You know what I mean?
Can I ask you one more question?
Hold on. Wait. Let me finish real quick. But if a female does that, she sleeps with 1,000 dudes, and there's stats that shows this that it will mess with her psyche. Her mental would be tampered with. Like it's gonna make her go crazy. You know what I mean?
Okay, 2 things. Okay, I'm starting a new show tomorrow, and I'm gonna tell you this. The one thing that we're pushing back on is people putting out unsubstantiated stats. So since you said that there's stats for it, you can drop it in the private chat. So I want to know. I'm telling you, everywhere where I see people saying this, yes, sir. I want to see the stats to show that thousands of women's psyche can't withstand just being sexually promiscuous. I'm asking everybody when they say things to give me a source.
Yo, listen, man. Listen.
I'm not calling you a liar or anything.
Hold on. No. Let me just put it like this. Listen, if a dude wifes up a chick that's a jump off, that's an L he's gonna have to take. You know what I mean? Like he gonna be a straight up sucker. He gonna look crazy at the end. A dude like me, I will always remain sucker free, man. You know what I mean?
Okay, one question, Mr. Rush. Does that mean you don't have the stats? Yes or no?
I've seen them before. You can look them up.
Okay, all right. Okay.
Man, you got, sir, you have access to a computer. It's called Google. Just Google it.
I'm gonna leave you alone about that. And one other question that I want to ask you in particular about the story you told me about the 3 women. I only got one question. And you were sexing them up for a period of time, right? It wasn't a one and done. This was what, 6 months, a year, or how long about?
Yo, this went on for a couple years, man.
Okay, so for a couple of years.
Nah, but it wasn't. Hold on. It wasn't consistent. You know what I mean? Like I was smashed, right? And one of them will probably call me up 4 months later. You know what I mean?
And want to get blown out again.
Like, yeah, so it was like, yeah.
I've been there, bro. My question is this. And that's what I'm saying. You describing people I know. I ain't saying I know them, but they have that same thought process. So my question is this. Went on for a couple of years. It was at least 2 of them, possibly 2 out of 3. Who ended it?
I did, man, because it was too much. I didn't want to get yo, these simps, they crazy out here, man. So.
We're talking just about that situation, okay? We ain't talking about the simp. We talking about you had 2 that was calling you up every. Come on, Rush. Come on over here, baby. I need it. And they wore your ass out. And you trying to tell me? See,
nah, you know what, Rico?
Back to what I said.
Rush just realized, man. Yeah, he was putting himself in a bad situation, man. He finally realized it, man. We all been there, Rico. So don't act like you ain't been there. Anyway, you say,
But I'm admitting it. I'm admitting that. Look, I realized I was being used. That they didn't care about me.
Put it like this, man. If your girl got Snapchat, you need to dump her now, man.
All I'm saying is, Mr. Rush, is
if your girl got Snapchat, you need to dump her now.
All I'm saying, Mr. Rush, and I agree with that. All I'm saying is that there are females of the species out here that move the same way as men. That's all I'm saying. I don't think it's the majority of them. I just think that it would be a mistake to believe that every woman is a virgin and wholesome. No, it's some women out here that's like trying to put in that business, and they're not prostitutes.
But the thing is that you are not looking at the grand scale. Is that majority of women move like this now, man?
And guess what?
Like, this is how they move.
Not only were they putting in that work, and not only was they using you as their little cabana boy, they also had husbands too. So when people even say that they can't have husbands,
honestly, that threw me off, man. Yeah, I'm like, yo, damn.
That's all I'm
I feel like, I feel like most of these women will, if they can have the safety of the husband and the thrill of a new sheriff in town, they would try to make it happen. I'm talking about in this age, in this market, like Russia.
And honestly, those 3 chicks, I'm not the only one that was smashing, man.
Of course.
They also.
So you were
because when you think about it, right, when she was out
the bench, you was coming off the bench. You wasn't even a starter.
Nah, man. But oh, come on, man. Yo, it happens to any dude, man.
Rush was the first call. Rush was the first call of the evening, man. Rush,
you know what I'm saying? But
I come off the bench.
But here's the thing. One thing I knew when I was smashing on 3 of them, I knew I wasn't the only nigga smashing. You know what I mean? I just knew. And I was right.
How did you know that, brother? How did you know that?
Look,
how did you know that?
You just know, man. Like you just know. You know what I mean? Like,
100%.
Like the inconsistency, the random calls. You know what I mean? Like as a dude, like I ain't gonna turn down no, you know what I mean?
Right.
Hit me up out the
How do you know, brother? That's the point. How do
That's
you
you
know?
assessing the behavior.
How do you know?
The behaviors. The behaviors.
But that don't give you a body count.
You know what I mean?
Brother, I have a barber, brother, and my barber, he said women are like cats, brother. They could step through a crime scene, murder with the blood on the they get right to the front door, they lick their paws, get everything clean. You would never know where they been. Never know where they been, man.
You could be dating a girl right now.
Brother?
You could be dating a girl right now, and she could be sleeping with your grandfather, and you would have no idea.
Exactly.
You would have no idea about it.
Here's where I agree
Mr.
with you,
Rush, we go back to the beginning question. Why ask the body count? We all agree how deceptive, how good at manipulating. We all agree that. So why are you guys asking the body count?
Hold on, Reek. I'm gonna let Rush answer that, but let me throw this in there. Okay, but I will agree with Rush that the behaviors do matter. I mean, that will indicate a few things for you. So that will help you kind of get an idea of what's going on in her personal life, which will help you. All right. So anyway, Rush, you heard the question Rico asked. What you got to say about it, brother?
Could you repeat the question?
If we all agree how good women are at being deceptive, manipulating, and we all know this. We know as men because we've lived long enough and we've experienced these things. So why ask them for something that we know? Isn't that almost like saying I'm asking to be manipulated a little bit more? Because whatever I ask,
I mean,
probably not true.
Okay. I see where you're getting at. One, I never ask a female's body count, because I already know what it is. You know what I mean? Okay. So as a man of if you're a man, never go into a relationship thinking that your girl is pure, because they ain't nobody got no brand new pussy out here, man. It's all been used up, man. You know what I mean? So you got to be aware of that. You're not gonna fall into the unicorn that holds this.
Okay, Rush.
Yeah,
you hit the nail on the head, brother. Now let me ask you a question. If a woman's value is not in the preservation of her vagina, where else do we seek the value, and where else do we look for her value in her? Yeah.
It depends. I mean, one, I don't want to confuse your audience, your male audience. It's always good to seek a virtuous woman. You know what I mean? That's what you want.
What is a virtuous woman, brother?
A virtuous woman a virtuous woman is a woman that that kind of lives a consecrated lifestyle and does not sleep around. That's what.
But that's the point, Rush. How do we know she ain't sleeping around?
Yo, that's
just said that.
Yeah, I know that, but a man should seek a righteous woman, not a woman of this world.
Agreed.
You know what I mean?
Agreed. But what I'm saying is, what is going to be the definition of righteous in this time? We in Rico, there was a whole nother definition of righteous.
I'm gonna answer your question, and it's not really an answer. Like, they all for the streets, man. Like, there is a small percentage that a female in the United States is a virtuous woman.
But so is virtuous meaning body count, or virtuous meaning what exactly does that mean?
Virtuous means she lives the consecrated lifestyle. She's not sleeping around. You know what I mean? And she's a righteous woman that follows the fundamentals of ethics, man.
Can I push back just on one thing, Mr. Rush? And I'll push back on the American woman. I'll say Western women, because women in other westernized countries, they living just like Americans. So you go over to Europe, same thing. Certain countries in Latin America, same thing. So I just don't want that narrative, because it always gets pushed out, and especially in particular, even when they say American women, at least in our spaces, they're always trying to imply Black women. And I'm like, yeah, all these things that y'all saying black women doing, don't think them other ones ain't doing it.
Yeah, listen, I'm not saying black. Listen, I'm not saying black women. I'm saying all women in the United States.
Yeah, and that's why I
mean?
say Western women, because even more than the U.S., I drag Canadians. You know, they Western, so a Western mentality. Because I just think in the Western mentality, we are sexually liberated. We don't have the restrictions around sexuality that, you know, Eastern or Middle Eastern countries have.
Well,
so
you gotta ask yourself. You gotta ask yourself, like a guy that will wife up a chick that has a high body count. I mean, he's your modern day sucker. You know what I mean? Like, you know, she's not
Rush?
for you.
There's a lot of modern day suckers out there. Kanye, is Kanye a modern day sucker?
Yeah, I mean,
come on, bro. I'm going by your definition. I'm going by your definition. Is Kanye a modern day sucker?
I mean,
don't start stumbling and bumbling. Is he a modern day sucker?
What do you think?
Full stop.
What do you think, man?
Is a modern day sucker.
What do you think?
I want you to tell me, sir.
I mean, obviously, I don't agree on the way he moves. I don't agree with it. You know what I mean?
That girl got a high body count. Is he a modern day sucker?
Well, hold on. See how? Wait a minute. You see how you looking at Kim Kardashian with a high body count?
No.
The only reason why. Hold on. Let me finish, sir. Let me finish. The only reason why you know about her high body count is because it's in public.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Yes.
So that's your average female, man. That's how the average female moves.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
I agree.
And there's males out there that's wifing them, man. And I think that's crazy, you know?
I agree, but Kanye could know about her count, the average male out there, you, me, bro Clarence. If we met a young lady out there on the street, she could be Kim Kardashian times 3. We ain't gonna know.
Right.
I ain't gonna know who she been with.
Right.
We just won't know. So, and you know, the good thing about it is you moving on this, you're moving in this space of I'm single, I'm not being booed up. So you're protecting yourself from all women. But no matter what woman you decide to settle down and get serious with from New York, you really gonna tell me you know her body count?
No, that's not what I'm saying.
I'm asking. It's a question.
Me as a okay, let me clarify this. Well, let me revise my statement. Me as a male, when I deal with a chick, I'm already assuming she already has a high body count.
Okay.
You know what I mean? That's just how I move. You know? But a lot of these guys, they would lie to themselves and really believe like, yo, they only slept with 2 or 3 dudes, and that's not even realistic. Mathematically, that don't even make sense. Because the average female, that's like 12, she already lost her virginity. From the age of 12 and up to her mid-20s, she probably already had 50 bodies on her, man. Easy.
Okay, y'all. I got a question for y'all. Based on what Rush was saying. Okay. You now you out here, you see that you have to assume that the average woman out here has a high body count. We're going to call 15 or more bodies high. We're going to call that high, right? Most guys would say 2 or 3 is high, but let's be realistic. 15 and 20, that we'll consider that high, right? So let's say some kind of way you do find out that here's my question. Before I get to that question, let me get to this question. Do you guys think masculinity in a female is a cursor or a post cursor to a high body count? Like, for example, you see a woman and she's kind of masculine. Do you think that has something? Is that a sign or a signal that she has been around a lot of men in a sexual manner?
Yeah. As you as you not well, every female responds to a high sexual active lifestyle differently. You know what I mean? But yes, some would adopt the masculine trait of males and they don't even know it.
Right?
Yes.
Because they're spending so much time around men and they're absorbing so much of that energy that they may have to take on that kind of hardness where they're have to, like how a male can be around a bunch of different females and not give just only one female his heart. Likewise, a female may pick up that because she is also involved with giving herself up to a lot of different dudes. That's my premise.
Well, I mean, if she don't hit the wall to that extent, then she'll most likely probably become a lesbian from that point.
Wait a minute, why did she have to hit the wall, Brother Rush?
Because usually when women lose their level of beauty, they tend to become lesbians.
Ain't nobody said they wasn't still pretty. They still pretty.
Yeah, they still pretty,
beautiful.
Brother. They still got
like, damn, why they gotta be ugly?
They got the attractiveness.
But it's not on the same. It's not on the same level as when they was like in their teens. You know what I mean?
But okay, here, and the crazy part about it, Mr. Rush, is I agree with you wholeheartedly. If you tell anybody, I'm gonna deny it. But I really do. I do think it's kind of tough. I do think I for a different reason though. I don't know if I don't or you, Brother Clarence, for a different reason. I don't necessarily buy into this women absorb energy. I think they can. I just don't know. Again, I'm always looking for evidence to prove something that someone said. Right. But I do think that the same way, I think women, if they deal with a lot of men, a high body count, obviously they probably have been used sexually. So she's been with 50 dudes and they've all used her sexually.
Well, let me ask you this, Reek. Reek, let me ask you this. Mm-hmm. Do you think that a woman that has slept with 2 men will behave differently than a woman that has slept with 50 men?
Yes.
As far as having a personality.
Absolutely, because I think over a period of time, as more and more bodies, and not even just bodies, I think we call them bodies, but they're also failures, because I think that maybe if a woman gives herself to a man, there's always some sort of hope that something, more meaningful will come from it. Other than the ones that really just want to use, like they used me and Mr. Rush and didn't care about our feelings, I think the average one would probably say, okay, if I'm going to sleep with Bro Clarence, I really like him, I'm really feeling him, and I hope a relationship come out of it. Each time that doesn't happen, that woman becomes more and more jaded.
Okay.
So emotionally, the woman that's only been tricked out twice is not nearly as jaded as the woman that's been tricked out 50 times. So she gets to a point where she's just like, fuck all dudes, all they want is the box. And you hear that. You hear them verbalize it. And it gets to the point where, it's kind of true. There's some truth in that statement. So it does create you to have a masculine energy about, okay, number 51. How am I going? You go into it. This guy might really like you, but you ain't believing it. That's what the first 50 said to get the cat.
Okay.
I don't believe you. So you come off very masculine, you project. People do, but dudes do it too. We do it when there's multiple failures. We project to the next one, depending on how many it is. If you've been to sip 25 times and they done sat there and they done just played and finessed your ass 25 times, you better believe by number 26, you get to that space where you tired of being picked on, you tired of being done.
Right. I agree with that.
But I do think that their energy does change from being very feminine to being very masculine. I just kind of understand why, and I'm like, yeah, she hard now. She's just been fucked over too many times, and she might be broken and can't be fixed. But
okay, well, y'all, we talking about wives. We talking about there's some dudes out here that don't give a F, right? There's some dudes that look at it like, Rico, hey, you know what? I'm looking past that. Myself included. Although I am concerned about your lifestyle, I want to see what's going on behind the scenes. What you say, Brother Rush?
Here's the thing, Clarence, that wholesome, submissive, loving, caring, nurturing type female, that does not exist no more. You know what I mean? It's just, we're just in a new era, and it is what it is, man. And if you're a dude that's seeking for that, I'm gonna give you a wake up call, man. It's not out there, man. And if she is like displaying that kind of behavior, it's not gonna last for long. Whenever she gets what she need, man, the true colors is gonna come out. You know what I mean?
Brother Rush, I just want to say this too, because I agree with you 100%. It does not exist. It doesn't. I just want to set the table. It didn't exist for me and Brother Clarence either. Okay. There were some women that were like that. But then we dealt with some women like you got, maybe not to the same degree, but we dealt with some hard ass women. And what I always hear is the problem is I'll hear guys of your generation, especially even younger, they swear we had it easy as pie. I'm like, y'all out y'all damn mind.
Yo,
y'all crazy.
Yeah.
All the stuff
I'm gonna have to. You guys did. The reason why. Hold on, brother. Let me speak now. The reason why you guys got it made is because the woman you're probably dealing with now, she was already prepped to be a wife before she linked up with you. You know what I mean? Because she probably came from a nuclear family. You know what I mean?
Yeah, good point.
I'm gonna say some and some. I'm not, but don't just the problem I have is people do this universalism because I didn't come from a nuclear family. And most of the girls I grew up with did not come from a nuclear family. Most of us came from single mother homes. I told everybody, I'm 57 years old, Mr. Rush. I knew 5 people that had a father in the house.
Wow.
That's it. Wow. I knew 5 people that had a father in the house. I was born and raised in Washington, D.C. when Chocolate City was dark fucking chocolate.
Man.
I knew 5 people who had a father in the home. And
hey,
that's
brother.
why I just don't want that narrative that it's universal because, yeah, I knew those 5 that had a mother and a father.
Okay, let me just say this.
Mm-hmm.
In the book of Proverbs, right? Solomon tells us that when you walk into the chambers of a female, it's considered of walking into hell. I'm paraphrasing this. This is not verbatim, but he has a good point by saying that. So it's worth seeking something that's virtuous than a female that's been passed around. You know what I mean? Because the female that's been passed around, she definitely cannot be trusted. You know what I mean?
Okay, stop right there, Rush, because that's where we're going. We're going right there. Okay, let me shout out the chat, and then we're gonna move on to the first question of the evening. Shout out to Sister Wana. Shout out to Tony Moore. Shout out to Petway Boy. Thank y'all for stopping by to have this discussion with us. Okay, so let's ask the first question because you hit it right on the head. A woman that's been passed around. Okay, so if a woman's been passed around and then all of a sudden she realized, hey, I'm not doing nothing for my long-term relationship value by keeping myself in this lifestyle where I'm just hopping from one young man to the next young man. She walks into the church. They dunk her head in that water. Bosh, right? You are now born again. She's born again, right? Filled with the Holy Spirit, right? Right? They went up and down the aisles with her. So now she's born again. What is the meaning of born again? What does that mean? And how does that affect
the terminology of being born again, and you just explained it. Being first the being put in the water allows you to receive the Yah's divine spirit. You know what I mean? Once you receive Yah's divine spirit, it does cleanse you from whatever nasty lifestyle you was living before you came into that new lifestyle, which is receiving Yah's divine spirit. Yo, that is a real thing. You know what I'm saying?
I hear you, brother, but I'm saying, I hear you, Brother Rush, but what I'm saying is, we as men, like, we saw you when you was living that crazy lifestyle. How then now do we look at you in this new light? Is it going to take time, or just because they dunked your head, now all of a sudden we're going to see what we need to see? Or does
it's not
have any other
that's
things?
the thing. When you make a good decision, like giving your life to the Most High, that's between you and the Most High. Now, whatever the crowd's perception about you, that's on them. That's really not something you're supposed to worry about, that because now you don't want to draw innocent blood within your hands. What I mean by is that once you take that decision of this new lifestyle you have, now you have to somewhat demonstrate that you are a new person, and you give up your old ways, or if you fail to do that, you might have people despise your religion and you at the same time, which is not something the Most High wants to happen. You know what I mean? That's why I say innocent blood is in your hands. You know what I mean? From that point.
Okay, Mr. Rush. So I don't know what your faith is. It doesn't matter. I want you to tell me. But a woman of your faith is baptized, redeemed, and born again, but you know she got 1,000 bodies. You good?
That's the question. That was my next question.
Don't put it. Hold on. Don't put it on me, because
I just want to know the thought.
Nah, don't put that on me. But I will give you a rebuttal. I don't know if you know about the book of Hosea or Hosea, but in the book of Hosea, he married a prostitute. You know what I mean?
Right.
And his love was unconditional for that prostitute. Okay. And when you read that scripture, the only way a man could love a female on that kind of high level like that is that he has Yah's divine spirit that dwells within him. You know what I mean?
Okay, and that's exactly what I was going to say, because and I'm boy, brother, you working tonight. You cooking tonight. You cooking tonight, Mr. Rush. Because I was going to say, if my rebuttal was, I think personally the only ones who could see that, other than me, because I don't care, is a born again, redeemed man. But the average dude that's not born again or redeemed himself, he won't be able to see past those transgressions.
No
matter what
he won't. And the reason why he can't look past that is because he's within his carnal mindset. Yeah. Right now, I'm within my carnal mindset. You know what I mean? I'm not gonna make that kind of decision because I'm in a carnal state of mind. You know what I mean? Yeah. But I know the difference, man. You know what I mean? I know the difference.
Me too, but that's why I said, they said being in the carnal mindset, I don't care. But I get to me, I was like, it's
not about not caring. It's that you're relying within your own understanding, and that's not how the Most High works. You gotta, you know what I mean? Some things you just gotta move accordingly, man. You know what I mean?
Yeah, just to me, it's just never been a overriding concern of mine. Don't get me wrong. Don't think that, okay, I want to be with somebody that slept with animals and children and all kinds of other stuff, and I'm not worried about disease or anything like that. I'm not. I'm just saying, I know my sexual history makes me blush. And
I mean that's what any man.
History ain't killed me yet. I ain't been with a woman that done been able to match my history or my behavior. So it's like I've always been with somebody that was a lot less sexually active than I have been. So it was like, if she got 100, I got how many hundreds? This is just crazy And just so like I just even look at their number because mine was just so confusing. It's not a brag thing. It was just the fact that I was young. I was in the Army.
Yeah.
I was in the lifestyle. So I went through periods of my life where we were just, when I was in the Army, oh my God. I'm talking about dudes in the military that's not married. They get 50 bodies a year easily.
Wow.
You're in the clubs.
No, I believe you because I also lived out. I also lived out the country. You know what I mean?
Easy.
So I know what it's like to get a plethora of exotic women for your own liking. You know what I
But
mean?
exotic or not, you did it because you worked all week, and when the weekend came, you wanted to drink and you wanted sex, and that was just your outlet. Period. Every single day, and that was like from 19 years. I was 18, 19 years of age. So we at the bar and we were paying strippers and everything else. So
all right, y'all. Hey, let me just take a couple of steps to the side real quick and go through the chat. Sister Wanda says, if the man is holy, then yes, he can receive a woman who has bodies. If the man isn't saved, then he cannot. What exactly does that mean? What exactly does that mean? Because I don't know what that means.
That means
because I've seen saved men accept women with bodies, and I've seen unsaved men accept women with bodies, and I've seen saved men who can't call it, and then I've seen unsaved men who can't call it. So what exactly is the difference between saved and unsaved men, and about when it comes to seeing a woman? Because that was the whole point. The whole point is, if you know this woman has this past that is really active, then how will you be able, what needs to happen for us as men who naturally that's not something we want our women to be involved with? How can we overlook that? And what would we need to see in her woman to know that she has had that lifestyle, but then overlook it, right? So Sister Wanda says, if a man is saved, if a man is holy, what does that mean? What does holy mean? Sister Wanda, why don't you come up and so you can tell us what that means? Then yes, he can receive bodies, a woman who has bodies. If the man isn't saved, then he cannot. Okay.
I believe what she's saying. I don't want to put words in her mouth. Well,
she's here, brother. She's gonna tell you what she can tell you what she said right out of her own mouth. Sister Wanda, glad to have you here.
Hey, brothers, how y'all doing?
All right. Looking to hear from. We need a woman's perspective, Sister Wanda. What's going on?
I appreciate that you said a woman's perspective, not all women. You know, we have to say that. You know, these days, it's unfortunate that we don't already. That's not already understood. But it's yeah, it's my perspective. It's this woman's perspective.
Right. So what did you mean by that? If a man is holy.
So what I meant by that, brother, my big brother Clarence, I love you so much.
Same here.
I love you so. I love you too, Rico and Rush. I love all of you because see, that's the thing about the Spirit of God, brother Clarence. What I'm saying is, you don't always have to agree with another person. If you carry the Spirit of God, you have no real animosity towards that person. You have no real contingencies towards that person. It's all healthy debate and discussion and ideologies. Right. So likewise, because I can be that way with people who may be completely different from me on a political spectrum, on a social spectrum, because of the Spirit of God, though, right, I can receive you. Likewise, a person, and this challenges, since it's coming from a man is asking the question, this challenges men, because what this says is, if you cannot receive her, the way Jesus received the woman who was the prostitute, who came into the chamber of all men in the synagogue, and she took her hair and dipped it in expensive perfume and used it to wash Jesus' feet, and he received her Everyone in the town in that space knew that she was a whore, but he received her. Why could he receive her? He could receive her because he sees her as pure. Now, how could he see her as pure? Because he was pure. So a man who is not pure within himself, it's impossible to receive a so-called whore because he has these standards. See, he has these unrighteous standards. That's why Jesus knelt down for the adulterer woman. When the men were getting ready to stone her, he said, okay, I get it. She's a whore. Yes, yes, yes. But who among you ain't a whore also? You cast the first stone. And see, that's what begs the question for men. They have to start checking themselves and saying, if we want righteous women, it makes sense that we have to be righteous men, because we're creating the unrighteous women when we have sex with them, when we brag about all the bodies we got in the military or in college, 50 girls in a semester. Who's 50? Those same 50 girls are going to be the one 10 years from then that you want to marry, and they're going to have bodies. Why? Because you made it a point to have sex. So only a person who can be, you attract what you are. You receive what you are. You can only receive a virtuous woman if you're a virtuous man. I'm virtuous, so it's a kind of convoluted way of thinking that some men have. Notice I said some, gentlemen.
Yes.
It's a convoluted way of thinking that some men have that makes them even ask the question. Can a man accept that a woman has 100 bodies by the time he gets ready to marry her? Well, can he accept that he also created those bodies? So that's what I mean by, if he is saved, if he himself has reconciled in his own mind, in his own spirit, in his own soul, that he is not perfect, that he has bodies, that he has, and I know there's pushback on this, but God said for each man to have his own wife to prevent fornication. He doesn't want you to be out here at 19 or 20 or 30 or 40 or 50 or 60 having sex with people who are not your wife. He doesn't. And that's what the question is going to continue to go back around to. He does not want you to fornicate, man or woman. He says for each man to have his own wife to prevent the fornication. So however many times you need to get it right, 3, 4 marriages, that's fine. Don't fornicate though. So so have I explained myself to you about my statement?
You have, but it opened up another question for me. Whereas, well, first of all, a couple of things I want to address. Number one, men, you're right. That's how men should see it. They should look at it like that, but most men don't look at it like that. Those
are the ones that we call unrighteous men.
Okay, so
and there's a lot of them, and there's a lot of unrighteous women. See, we're in a cesspool of sin.
All right, I hear you, Sister Wanda, but hold on. So there are men that are not as aggressive with that judgment on themselves as they are with the women. Would you agree with that?
Of course. And that's why that caveat in scripture is there, because it's speaking to all of us. Okay. We just don't talk about it with the men, but he does not want, he mentions it another time. He says, do not spill your seed onto the ground. Do not waste your sex. It's for procreation. It's not for a good time. He gives a good time so we enjoy doing it. That's the blessing. He makes it feel good, so we want to do it more, but he wants us to do it in a covenant, in a commitment, in a contract between that person and him. Any other time, it's not righteous, it's not holy, and more likely it's gonna fail.
Okay, I get that, Sister Wanda, and we can go into that a little later. But the question I want to ask is, if most men don't see it that way, then how will they see a woman and even think to marry her? Because you're right, Jesus did accept the woman. And
my point, dear brother, if he sees her that way, it's because he is that way. Brother Rico already told you.
No, we're talking about marrying a woman now. That's a whole different ballgame.
But still, brother Rico's point is consistent with your question.
Which point?
If the question that if he knows the woman has a lot of bodies. He said he knows she's had a lot of bodies. He said, I hope she doesn't have more than me. And it's likely that she hasn't had more than me. But as long as it's less than me, now he's already explaining that he's carnal, and he used that word himself. That he's carnal. He's using his carnal mind, his carnal spirit to tell you that he can accept a woman with bodies because he has bodies.
But I'm saying that's Rico. I'm saying that average guy out there today,
the average guy is the same way. He accepts a woman that's on his level.
Then how come we not marrying then?
See, water, that's right. He's not going to marry her because he knows that she's a whore. How does he know that? Because he's a whore.
But that's what I'm saying.
He's not going to marry, and men shouldn't marry. They should not marry. Until you're right, don't get married. Until the man has to rise. The man must rise. Adam, wherefore art thou? The man must rise for the woman to rise. If he does not rise in consciousness and standards, then she will always be beneath him. We're always the weaker vessel. We're the weaker vessel. We're following you, brother.
I agree. I agree.
And if you agree that the majority of men are carnal, that they don't think that way, then what do you think the condition of the woman's gonna be, brother?
Oh, I understand. Completely. I get it.
So you answering your own question. If the men are carnal, the women will be carnal.
But that wasn't the question, sis. I'm asking a question.
You're asking, how can a carnal man accept a woman after she's been carnal and then been saved?
Right, because some men
if he is not saved, if he is not saved himself, he cannot. He can only attract to himself what he is.
I disagree with that, sis. But I hear you. I
know you hear me. I know you hear me. What does Brother Rico have to say on what I said?
Yeah, what you got to say, Rick?
We about to get another 50 feet of snow because I agree with everything you said, Sister Wanda. I do. But I will say, I agree with every word you said, Sister Wanda. I ain't going to be able to get out the house. It's going to snow so bad. I will call you out one last thing. Old hoes do marry each other when they both get old. So you're right. As long as that carnal man is out there living that carnal lifestyle, that carnal woman's living that lifestyle, nothing's going to come. But eventually, they'll get to the place where that man will just be beyond. If he wake up 60 years old, he ain't checking for no virgin, no way. He's just checking for anybody that's checking for him. And 9 times out of 10, you're only going to get, as Sister Wanda said, you're only going to attract what you are. I'm just, or you can just get over it and accept earlier if you want to be a little choosy. And just in my mind, I dismiss that whole body nonsense. It's like, come on, it's just, I don't know. Again, I don't know where that space comes from.
Let me ask you guys this. Do you think that being aware of a woman's sexual behavior pre getting into a relationship with her is a good thing just for a health to protect your own health? Do you think that would matter? Anybody?
if it's a health issue, do a health checkup. I hear that's what
No,
people are doing. I mean,
Reek,
you know what I'm saying?
I'm talking about Reek. Hold on, I'm gonna let you
Yeah.
finish, but let me set you up again. Well, okay. So what I'm saying is, based on the current climate we're in now, I just told you a story about a lady that got married to a dude, and she didn't even have no clue that this dude was HIV positive, and she just had a bad cough, goes to the hospital, and and the doctor says, "Oh, let me talk to you over here to the side. By the way, you're HIV positive, right?" She been married to this dude for 5 years, been with him 8, right? She hadn't been with nobody else, but now she HIV positive. So it's happening out here. It's happening.
Even by that example you gave.
Okay.
They both, and what I was talking about was like, I know in other countries, people like, okay, I love you, you love me. Let's both go to the clinic and get checked for everything to make sure that we're both carry no sexually transmitted diseases. Because again, like I said, there's no test for bodies. You want to test for the cleanliness, that, you know, there's no communicable diseases, and so on and so forth. So that now I'm going forward with someone with no communicable, transmissible diseases. But even in the story that you told me, if dude is still bisexual, okay, his last partner didn't have HIV, but he's still going to get with somebody else that may end up giving him something, and still. So I don't know how long that goes. You can go into, it's sort of like you can do a check at the time of coming together. How do you check for the duration of the marriage or the relationship that they will stay faithful, clean? You know, short of you saying, okay, we're going to use protection. And I don't know many marriages that people want to do that.
Man, you just don't know.
You just don't know.
The only thing you can do is trust the other person, brother. That's all you can
do. Ain't nobody safe out here.
See, Brother Clarence, Brother Clarence, you've been married 32 years, correct?
Correct.
So you represent the last vestiges of a time, like Brother Rush said, has gone, brother. You're asking questions about things that have gone.
So you don't think
about a time that has gone.
Sister Wanda,
you could 30, 40, 50 years ago trust that the person that you were having sex with wasn't spinning plates, didn't have 5, 6 other people that they were entertaining. 50, 60, 70 years ago.
Sister Wanda, I think it was going on back then too. I think it just
wasn't. But not at the rate that it is occurring today. So, and even back then, 50 years ago, before you even married, you had to have blood work taken. That was a part of the licensing. I don't know if that still is the deal. I didn't have to have show blood work to get married. So I don't know if that's still across the board or state to state or country to country. But my point is, what you're asking now is about self-accountability that is on a higher level than it used to be 50 years ago. That's the question that you're asking about. And of course, the answer is you should, to your story, she should have been vigilant about and adamant about having blood work drawn periodically during their relationship. If you understand that, it was 20 years ago, 30 years ago when we had the biggest health pandemic, ever with the HIV, then from there on, you can never go back. See, once that happens, you can't go back to, oh, now it's safe to go raw again. You can't go back. We're never going to go back from this COVID situation. It's never going to really go back. So understanding the world now, since you've been married, Brother Clarence, a conscious person, a person with common sense should understand that they should be having periodic blood work for sexual transmitted diseases, not only before they consider having sex for the first time, but during their entire relationship with this person.
Well,
also because wives and husbands are giving them HIV today. So my thing is that you should be having precautions during even your marriage. because your partner it's not going to happen anymore. That's a time gone by. Your partner isn't going to be faithful in that manner. That is a very low percentage. Now, I'm not talking about you, Brother Clarence, but I'm just telling you, it's a very low percentage of people who are faithful.
I know.
And so in order to protect yourself, you shouldn't rely on anyone. Scripture even teaches you not to trust other human beings. It says to be discerning. It says trust no one but the Father. But your question begs that we trust one another. There's no possible way to do that.
Well, I mean, I think you have to do a lot more. If you're going to trust somebody, you have to do a lot more on the vetting end, on the end where you're vetting. You have to do a lot more vetting. There's two things you have to do if you're going to trust somebody, or be in situations where you are going to assume a heavy amount of trust with the person. Number one is you got to do a lot of vetting. You're going to make sure that this person goals and personal standard of conduct of themselves is as closely aligned to yours as possible. They value the same things as you. You know, lying is a big issue to them. Cheating is a big issue to them. Them hurting your feelings and stuff like that, that's a big issue to them. That's something you got to line up first. The next thing is there's never no safe time. You got it, like you said, you're going to check. Now, I don't know about blood work, because you're going to do that over the course of a marriage. You're going to get sick. You're going to have to go get blood work and stuff like that periodically. But you definitely have to check them spiritually and mentally every so often. You got to check and make sure that we're all on the same page. I agree with you on that, Sister Juana. But
I agree with your check system. But another good way that a person is not treating you well within your relationship or marriage is the first sign of disrespect. The first sign of disrespect from a woman is a tell that she is considering or has already stepped outside of the marriage. That's just about really for anyone, but it's a definite tell with the woman.
Definitely, it's on its way here. The ball is definitely in moving. But let me ask y'all a question. I've been trying to ask this question for an hour. What is the meaning of born again? If women, if we say that, okay, I'm out here, I'm not Rico. See, Rico is the 1 in a million cat that will, the body count ain't really that important, right? The average guy out here, and because we heard from the youngster Rush that body count means something, right? What is the meaning of born again? If a woman, what does that mean? What exactly does that mean? How is she different? How is a woman different when she becomes born again? Anybody want to answer that?
In the biblical,
and you don't have to attach it to no particular religion, but just you know what I mean.
But she's born again the same way a man is born again. What does it mean when a man says, "Okay, I've done all this. I've done all this dirt. I've murdered. I've robbed. I've stolen. I've ran with the women. I was a pimp." But he finds his way to Christ. He finds his way to God, and he is washed in the blood. He's made clean. What does that mean for a man? Whatever it means for a man is what it means for a woman.
Well, I went through John verse 3. Went through the whole chapter, and chapter 3, and we talked about what it means for a person to be born again, right? In the spirit and in the mind. But when it comes to a woman can be born again of the spirit and the mind. But will men still see her even knowing that she was out there?
So now we're going back to the same question, because I think you already understand your question. We're going back to the same answer. Excuse me. You already understand your question. You want to make the woman different.
No. I'm not making the woman different. I'm saying that men see it differently. I'm not saying it's different. I'm saying men see it differently.
He sees it differently if he is not different. Does that make sense?
I get that, but I'm talking about
a sinner recognizes a sinner.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Yes.
If he still sees her that way, then he is a sinner himself. He has not received his own grace.
No. I'm not saying that he says, oh, she's a sinner. We're getting off point here. I'm not saying that. He may recognize that she has been saved by.
You saying how can he not think about her being fucked? Is that what you're asking?
No, because that's never an issue. That's never an issue for men.
Are you asking how can a woman be saved and a man forget about the body count? Is that what you're asking?
There you go. And consider her to take her into his bosom as a wife. That's what I'm talking about. She ain't got to worry about him having sex with her. He don't care whether she's a whore or queen. I mean, whatever. Sex is not the issue. It's the taking her under his bosom, saying, I'm going to take you under my provision and protection. And so what would make a man consider a woman that has lived that lifestyle, but now that she's
a righteous man, you're not wanting to accept this answer.
Yeah,
I don't understand. I don't understand why you're not receiving the answer. We've spoken on it. A righteous man can overlook her transgressions, just as God overlooks our transgressions when we come to the Father and we say we're sorry.
I believe that, but I'm saying
now if he is not a righteous man,
okay,
then he will always see her that way. That means he's not righteous.
Yeah.
And see I think what you don't want to accept, brother, is that a man can be righteous and then have questions about this woman. If he has questions about her, then he is not righteous.
Okay, let me ask you this. Would we consider a pimp a righteous person?
Once he has gone through what you call being saved, what you're about to read,
gone through that process
then he is never going to see her that way.
But we have pimps out there that are married to their prostitutes.
That has nothing to do with it. Has it been consecrated, in God's favor? And we know a pimp and a woman having sex with other men, that's not something God blesses. So that's not a good question. I don't want to be disrespectful to you, but that's not a valid question. Because the two of them are already defecating on the Lord with their very status. You said a pimp married to a whore. That's not consecrated by God.
But I'm not saying that every situation is going to be consecrated by God. Is you going to marry somebody? Maybe not necessarily. It should be something that you should be led by God to do. But most of us are not led by God to get married.
Because most of us are living in sin. I am living in sin.
Exactly.
Clarence, that pimp is like me. He don't care about the bodies.
That's what I'm saying.
He just don't care about the bodies, right?
Exactly. Exactly, brother Rico. Exactly. He does not. The pimp doesn't care about the bodies.
That's
and there's a reason. And there's a reason why the pimp doesn't care about the bodies. Do you understand the reason?
I think so, but I would like you to explain it to me.
The pimp doesn't care about the bodies because he is not a righteous man. He doesn't even want anybody good. He doesn't want anybody holy. What is he going to do with somebody holy?
I understand that.
I hate that I agree with everything she's saying. It's driving me.
He would not.
She's on fire.
He would not be able to. He would not be able to fulfill his pimp status or his duties dealing with holy women. So of course he doesn't care about the bodies. That's a I don't know the word for it, but that's erroneous. A pimp being married and he don't care if his wife is sleeping with other people. The woman's body. The woman's body is for the man.
Bro, Clarence,
a man who doesn't care about that.
Sister
a man who's yes, sir.
Would I be correct in saying, because I swear I get what you're saying 100%, that a man who's redeemed and born again looks at a virtuous woman and a redeemed woman the same, because once she's been redeemed and born again, all her sins have been washed away. So he don't look at them and say, well, she never was a hoe and she's a hoe. He looks at two virtuous, righteous women because that's the place they are at after the previous woman went through her redemption. But only a righteous man can see that. A man like me, I'm going to still see the difference, but a righteous man will see them as the same, born again in the name of Christ. And, am I close, Sister Juana?
Yes, sir. Exactly. Exactly.
That's what I get, is that it takes a righteous man and he'll see them the same. So he literally, to him, that previously unvirtuous woman that has gotten her life back, she's exactly the same as the woman who never was out there. You don't discern the difference and say, well, they're all good and they used to be good. No, they're both righteous in the name of the Lord. They're living right. I'm living right, and so on and so forth.
Okay, you know what, brother? I hear you, and I hear Sister Juana, my beloved, but I'm still having an issue because I'm trying to get us to the point to accept that we are not in a righteous world. We are not. So to say that, okay, if we're only going to have these, we need nuclear families. We need nuclear families.
Exactly. Exactly.
Let me finish, Sister Juana. Peace to Brother Chaotic. Peace to Brother Chaotic. Okay, so we need these nuclear families, right? Okay, in a nuclear family, whether we putting righteous people together or not, we need to put the best of the rest together, right? Whether they righteous or not, we need the best of the rest to get together, because we're not putting righteous people together now and look at the situation. So we need to put the best. We're not living in a situation where righteous people are just walking down the street. Righteous people are like, very far and few between. So if we wait for just the righteous people to get married, our thing is gonna go way down.
What is your proposal to put righteous people with unrighteous people?
No. Okay. The righteous people will be taken care of, like Sister Juana said.
Okay.
The righteous people will find the righteous.
Okay.
But we need to take the best of the rest
of the unrighteous.
Yes, and put them together and let them learn how to become righteous. Because just because they're not righteous at this moment doesn't mean the pressure of being in a relationship or trying to learn will not get them to a place where they're righteous, or even they're patient with the other person enough to where it looks like they're righteous, right? So that's what I'm saying. I'm saying that most men out there are not righteous. Not a lot of righteous men out there. So for us to say, well, nobody should get married because they ain't righteous, I'm saying the righteous will naturally find each other. We don't have to worry about them. But those of them, the best of the rest, the one right under righteous, maybe not be righteous, but you're almost there, right? Let them find each other. And then the people that's just under that, let them
find the narrative for the unrighteous not to get married?
Huh?
Where's the narrative for the unrighteous not to get married?
Well, Sister Juana was saying that, basically, if you're not righteous, you shouldn't be getting married. She said that earlier, right? And so I'm saying that's the way it should be. But because of the situation we're in, and we're trying to raise these children, get these children in an environment where they can at least have a two-parent home, and it's not. I'm not saying it should be a two-parent home.
But Sister Juana also said that they shouldn't be fornicating too. So
right.
They shouldn't be getting married or fornicating, so these families wouldn't be being created.
Exactly. So but
that follows that logic, and that makes sense.
We got to be realistic, Rick.
Oh, I know that. Yeah,
they're gonna do it, right? They're gonna do it, right? They shouldn't do it. She's right. They shouldn't do it, but they're gonna do it.
So let me segue into this, because God knows that we're sinners and he knows that we're gonna mess this up. Just like, you guys are fathers. I don't have any children, but you guys are fathers. You knew your children were gonna mess up. So our Heavenly Father, and he knows we're gonna mess up, and he just hopes that we come to him. So when the unrighteous find one another and they do marry, God has steps for them. He, like you explained the other night, Brother Clarence, they have to be brought to task. You make him carry those bricks all the way over there, and then then when they get piled up, you make him carry them back over there. Right. God has his way of making us carry those bricks. A lot of times these marriages end in divorce, or they have some kind of infidelity aspect towards it, or some other kind of erroneous horrific aspect to the marriage, because they have not really been blessed. Most of the time the people are not equally yoked. A lot of time you have people who are pressing towards the mark of being righteous, dragging along somebody who's still trying to figure it out. That usually doesn't work, because that what it originally not blessed by God. That was my falling. My situations were never blessed by God. So I have these random relationships in one marriage. None of them were blessed by God, because I had not come to God yet. I had not received him. And so of course none of it. Now, God's not going to speak in a loudspeaker and say, this is why your marriage failed, because it was not blessed by me first. This is why your child and end up doing these kind of things, because it was not blessed by me first. But if you just look at the things, if you look at the fruit, you shall know if it was blessed by God or not. It will show you. The results will show you. And so, to answer your question about the people when the unrighteous get together, they're gonna have an unrighteous outcome. And that's what we're seeing right now. When we see that over 50% of marriages end in divorce, we're seeing right now the results of the unrighteous getting coupled together. This is the outcome. What we're living right now is that outcome.
I get it. I get it. But just because people go into a marriage unrighteous, don't mean they're going to come out of a marriage unrighteous. That is true. That if you go into it, chances are you're going to come out of it unrighteous. But people can go into a marriage.
Well, when they come to God, if they come to God, usually. But it's very rare. I'm not going to say it never happens, but I'm just saying it's very rare, because see, I will no longer couple with a person who does not believe in Christ, and that's one of the things that I had to accept, that it will never work. Right. If that person's mind is not on pleasing God, it's impossible for them to please me. And if my mind isn't on pleasing God, it's impossible for me to please them or to be a good wife, if I'm not first trying to honor what God asks of me to do. Because see, when I'm trying to please God, it keeps me from doing the stuff that I did before. See, I didn't have God before. I used to be an atheist, Brother Clarence.
Can't believe that.
Yes, sir. And when I was an atheist, it was, now don't get me wrong, I didn't murder anybody. I didn't, do any horrific things. But when I wasn't in Christ's mind, when I wasn't Christ-minded, it was almost like a laissez-faire. Oh, my heart is good though. Oh, I did this, but my genuine true heart was good. I was always rationalizing my actions. But see, when you're trying to please God and when you're trying to walk in the footsteps of Christ, it puts a pause on a lot of things that were laissez-faire before.
That's your real name, Ronna?
Excuse me?
That's your real name, doing a Google search, searching for bodies.
The pronunciation is actually Joanna.
Hey, Joanna, forget Rico, man. That's wild. All right,
hold on. The pronunciation is actually Joanna.
Joanna. Oh, okay. I always thought it was Juana. Okay, it's
I don't care
And
what it is. I'm looking for bodies.
and it's Hebrew for gift of God. But see, I didn't always live for God. And so that to me explains what a lot of the things that occurred because I wasn't living for God. And so it's important. Yes, sir.
Sister Juana, I put in Rico Young in the computer looking for bodies. My computer got stuck. It stopped.
It crashed.
It crashed.
And see, God knows, and God already knows. And you know, we keep asking about the body count. God knows the count, and He still loves us anyway.
It say, "Don't ask me about that brother no more."
A woman will never. A woman will never tell you her body count, but she knows that God knows, and that's troubling. It's troubling for her.
What made you become a believer? What made you not be an atheist no more and becoming a believer? What was that pivotal moment for you?
That was a good question. Good question.
Well, you know, we come to God's favor. It requires sacrifice and suffering. That's how usually most people find God, when you come through extreme suffering. And the young people call it taking L's. You know, taking a loss, when you're taking a serious loss. Now, see, the players, they avoid loss by never giving commitment to anything. So you have to commit to something first to experience loss. So understand that. But extreme loss, extreme pain, extreme emotional or physical or economic or psychological trauma and pain,
so you was broken.
Will bring you to God. Yes, you have to be. You have to be broken.
That's how you receive the divine spirit.
You have to be broken. There's no other way, because what is He gonna do with what is He gonna do? How you would never come to God if you had it all together.
True. If you think your way is working, you're not gonna. Why would you try something new if everything you're doing is working?
That's right, and my way wasn't working, and so I had to look. I had to go deep, and but He did not dismiss me when I came to Him. He received me, knowing all the things that I had been through and all the things I had done. He still received me. There's not one person on this planet, and by this discussion, we understand it, that will receive me after the life that I've led. And I've been to 6 different countries. I've known people all around the world. I've experienced a lot, and there's no one on the planet who will receive me like Jesus.
Did you receive the divine spirit at its fullness?
Did I receive it at its what, beloved?
Did you receive the fullness of the divine spirit?
Yes, I do believe that I've received the fullness of the divine spirit. Now, this is something that I want to add a little caveat to. Just because a person has received Christ, that doesn't mean they're perfect. That doesn't mean that they're completely without sin. The Bible, Scripture teaches that you must first believe, because see, Moses was a murderer. Paul was a murderer. Noah was a drunk. Ruth, the Moabitess, was a former prostitute. Mary Magdalene, prostitute. The entire Scripture was written by adulterers, thieves, and murderers and liars. So, and God still received them. David was a murderer and an adulterer, and God still received them, not because they were perfect. No. Not because they were perfect, but because they believed in God.
All right, y'all.
Before I did not believe in God. Now I believe in God.
All right. I appreciate that, Sister Juana. I don't want to take it too far down the religious road. I mean, you know, I appreciate that God has done a lot for you and me, the same thing. You know,
it's not a religion. It's not a religion. It's a relationship.
well, I'm using the definition of the word religion, where the definition of the word religion is way of life. It's a way of life to give thanks to a higher power. So that's what I mean. But anyway, with that being said, can we get back onto track to what the topic of the live stream is about? And we're trying to help some people make some decisions around here. So let me ask y'all a question. What is meant by wifey material? What is meant by that?
Wifey material is a female that's willing to deal with a man's inconveniences and being a good support system and a helper.
Okay, I'll take that. What about you, Rick?
And one more thing, and she's not showing her goods on Instagram. I had to put that in.
Hey, but that's true. That's true. That's true. That's gonna help a lot.
Now, I know you said that you're looking to help somebody. This is about anybody in particular. You don't have to name them.
No, brother. I mean, we got to. Okay, let me explain. Right. We got a lot of young men out here that don't have guidance, brother.
Right. I just didn't want it to be somebody that maybe reached out to you for help, and then we discussing this issue in a lighthearted way. If there was somebody but if it's nobody we discuss it the way we discuss it. But when I know it's like somebody we really trying to help, I ask people to try to be thoughtful about what they say. And I didn't
I believe. See what happens, Rick. We have our numbers at when we actually shooting these live streams is low, but then when I go back and look at them, they're high on the replays, and so people actually come over here and look at it when they get a chance to look at it. So,
and I do believe that there's a lot of cats in this situation where they're dating somebody that they know they have a high body count, they really like them, and they're struggling with it.
Exactly.
I'm not trying to tell them to do it or don't do it. Like I said, I'll tell them for me, I don't care. Like Sister Joanna said, they ain't gonna tell you the truth anyway. So what are you asking for?
I don't think it's smart to ask.
I don't. But the question about what is wifey material, to me, speaks to character and behavior. Again, I spoke the other day and I told somebody the biggest thing for me when I looked for a wife, especially my wife in particular that I'm currently with, was I looked for someone that was selfless. So for me, everybody likes to talk about submission. And to me, I don't like that word because it just seems, most people will sort of reject it because it's like to infer you're being dominated or dominant. I like selflessness, people who, are in service of others, people who would, people with a giving spirit, a wife that's going to come into my life. A wifey material is someone that's willing to come into your life and to shore up all the spaces that you're weak at. That's going to look for anywhere, if your weaknesses is financial, if your weaknesses are family, if your weaknesses are, spirituality, if your weaknesses are, your relationship with your kids, they're going to come to look to shore you up in all those spaces. And that's the most important thing. The places where you're strong at, while they can be good at that too, your biggest need are places where you're very weak at. I know my wife came in and helped me tremendously in those spaces, and she just she talked to me. She talked it out. She was like a counselor, and vice versa. I tried to do the same thing. I looked for where she was weak at, and that was the thing that I tried to ascribe to, was to say, okay, I'm going to try to help you in all the places that I think where, she was weak at. And we were both willing to do it for each other without even being asked. And that's why I think, we've been so successful, because I never asked her to help me with it. She just did it. And I love her for it, because I didn't really have anybody that willingly did it before. And she just did it without question with my mom, my sister, with everything. And I did the same thing. So that's wifey material to me. Someone who looks out for you at your vested interest, for no favor and no reward. They just want to see you be a better person.
Agreed. Sister Wana, what you got to say?
Excellent question, but I think I'm going to pass on this question, brother. I don't think I'm really qualified to respond to that. I have ideas about it, but I think that's a gentleman's question, actually. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Appreciate that. Okay, y'all. So let me read y'all something here. Now, Brother Clarence, why you keep referring to the Bible? Are you trying to give us a Bible class? Actually, I'm not. I'm just going on with the standards by which most of our people go by when they decide things and what they look for. And so the Bible is a critical book in the Black community. It used to be, I should say that, but still a lot of our people do look to the Bible for inspiration. So that's why I'm using these Bible references, not to say one religion is better than the other religion or anything like that. So, and that being said, the wife's role in a biblical marriage, being a helper. God made woman to be man's helper. Holy smokes! Hey, can I go say that in Black YouTube? Probably not. I get chased out of here, right? In the Bible, the word helper is only used to refer to Eve during creation and God Himself. This means that being a helper comes with tremendous power. Okay, so that is like just a little biblical look at what the word wife means, as far as giving us a framework of which to work under. But we all know that if we have a wife, that wife should help us accomplish whatever we are trying to accomplish in a productive way, in a positive way. That wife should help us. If she's not helping us, then it's difficult for us to call her a wife, right? Some women are just in our lives for different reasons, right? Sometimes you have a woman in your life, and this woman is in your life just to educate you on certain areas that you need to work on and strengthen in your own resolve, right? She makes you, you just spend all your time having sex with this woman. That's something you have to overcome because you're not getting nothing done. So this is a challenge. Some women are in your life to present different challenges to you so you can increase your discipline, right? Then there's some women that try to get you to eat fast food all the time. You have to increase your discipline on that. That's not healthy for you. So there's different things why we would consider a woman to be a wife and issue, but the main consideration is she helping you to accomplish a righteous objective, something that's going to accomplish and grow and be something of value to yourself and others. So that's the definition of a wife and the way most of us see it. All right. So let's go to the next question. Oh, wait a minute. I want to get to a comment that Arshawn gave. Arshawn gave us a question. Born again women should get a new start. Like Sister Joanna said, no man will accept her like Jesus. If more of us accepted the women, maybe they would love us like they love him. I agree. But the reality, Brother Arshawn, the reality of the situation is most men don't think this way. Most men don't think that way. Most men think like they think like in terms of possession, and they want a clean possession. They like, for example, men think in terms of objects. Okay, I want to go to the car dealership. Don't ask me to pay full price when you're selling me a used car. I don't want to pay full price for a used car. If you're giving me a used car, then let me pay half price, right? That's the way men's brains work. It's just need and necessity and demand, right? Whereas women has more feeling involved in her thinking process. So that's what I'm trying to get us around, is to understand how the current marketplace works. But go ahead, brother.
Well, because my question is then, if that is in fact the case, and I think because we constantly frame it in this language of sexual marketplace value, which I don't even ascribe to it. I don't know I don't even know it's a real thing. I know it's a term that's been coined and people put it out there. I don't know how widely accepted it is or how widely it's used. I've heard it. I've never heard it till I came on YouTube, but it's here crazy. So I just don't, in real life, I don't hear the term. But however, if that's the truth, my question is so these are damaged men saying they refuse to accept damaged women.
Correct.
Which then to me, it's like, then shouldn't these damaged men get healing first? Because I don't understand how a damaged man.
I love you. I love you, Rico. I love you, Rico.
It just makes no sense to me. But
that was so, wait a minute, I gotta say this. That was so profound. You're asking damaged men. Brother, repeat that. That was just noteworthy. Damaged men seek, how can a damaged man get a pure woman? That is profound.
They're just
broken. It's profound.
And they're looking for something that they're not. I just don't get it. It just, I can't wrap my head around that concept, and I can't accept the premise that we accept that. So that's why when I think about it and I speak to the young man, I'm like, you can't have a million bodies and think it's wrong for somebody else to have a million bodies. I'm not saying that they should have a million bodies, but I'm saying you shouldn't either. You just,
and on a mathematical level, it's impossible. The more you have sex, you're increasing the body counts. You're increasing the choices for the men. There will be no pure women when your agenda from 16 to 40 is to have as much sex as possible. You're decreasing the women who have low body counts on a mathematical level.
Right.
Thank you, Sister Joanna.
You know what you just said? What you just said is a reason why. Well, let me say this real quick, Rick, and then I'm going to let you finish. Okay. What you just said is the reason why the church, black men are leaving the church, because church was the last place you could go to get good women, or what was quote unquote considered good women, meaning that the body count would probably be low. But now that there's always about 3 or 4 dudes in the church, a new sister comes in the church and they just they take her down, right? And so the average black man saw that and see that in the church, and they say, this place ain't no different than out here in the street.
Before he sees it in the church, he sees it in himself.
But that's what I'm saying.
You keep skipping. You make it like there's these innocent men out here looking for innocent women. If he has had sex before he married the woman or girl, then he shouldn't expect to find an innocent woman. That's the point we're making.
I'm not saying the men are innocent. They know they're not innocent. They know they're not innocent. They go to the church to try to find get a new start, or try to get a new.
Does he come to Christ? When he comes to church, is he looking for a wife, or is he looking for Christ?
No,
because see, the prostitute that came to the church, to the synagogue, and washed Jesus' feet with her hair, she wasn't coming for any other reason other than to be received by Christ. The men who say there's no good women in the church are coming to look for a wife. They're not coming to Christ.
Right.
He says seek the kingdom of God first, and then everything else will be given to you. You have to seek God first, but you don't seek a wife before God. Seek God first, and he will cleanse you, and then you look for the wife.
I agree with you, but the reality is that's not what's taking place out here.
But
and therefore the reality will continue to be what it is until the men change.
And the reality is, again, it's going to be 200 feet of snow. Because I'm telling you, I believe every word she said. I swear, Sister Joanna, every
we
word.
Can't just place the blame on the men.
We're
because
not placing the blame.
Let me speak, brother. Let me speak, brother. Come on now.
Go ahead, sir.
We got to factor in, like, the mass media. Mass media has a large influence on for females to become more promiscuous. You know, the Cardi B's, the Megan Stallions, like they have their own agenda, and we have to also understand that there's an agenda to feminize men too. So there's a lot of things that's taking place which destroys the nuclear family.
Of course there is, Brother Rush. Of course there is, Brother Rush. There's always going to be a snake in the garden beguiling Eve. But still God he held Adam accountable. He didn't say, Eve, where art thou? He said, Adam, where art thou? Where is the leader? See, a woman, because she is the weaker vessel, it's almost like God kind of just like, all right, sis, I know, you know, I made you this way. You're gonna be this way. You're gonna be tempted more than Adam. I know this. And I know because you're the way you are, and you know, you don't know no better. You're gonna tempt Adam, but but God says I'm gonna hold Adam to a higher standard than you. See, now do you receive that, Brother Rush? That Adam is held to a higher standard over Eve? I do. I accept that. That's not submission. That's submission to God. The submission, God set the order. And so he set the order with Adam over Eve. No matter what Eve did, he held Adam accountable. So I don't care how much she watches on TV or what Cardi B is doing and Meg Thee Stallion is doing and Kim Kardashian is doing. Both of them can receive God and his blessing, but still he's holding Adam to account more. And do you accept that?
Yeah, I accept. I mean, I understand what you're saying, but how things, like, for example, with the marriage and, you know, kids involved and stuff like that, like the reward is if you do evil, you receive the reward for doing that evil act. As if a female marries a man, she could divorce him at any time and receive all his resources if she wanted to.
Brother
which gives them.
I'm not sure we're talking about the same things. I'm not sure we're talking about the same thing, Brother Russ. Expound, please.
Well, what I mean is that how the laws are set up and how everything's set up within America, you get rewarded for doing evil acts. And the men, yes, have created these laws for them to be rewarded for this evil act that they commit. You know what I mean?
Brother Rush, let me just jump in for a second. And Sister Juana, thank you. I'm coming to church with you tomorrow one day. I mean it. You are spot on with everything. And you know what? I love your ability to hold us accountable and not let us wiggle our way out of it, because it's important. It's very important. And you're spot on. And who knew? You know.
But brother Rico, I don't like using the word blame though. Someone said something about blame. It's not about blame.
No, I said hold us accountable.
I'm just talking about accountability, because see, a woman, she has to be accountable, and God did hold her accountable, just not over Adam.
But I think
wait, Reek. Wait, hold on. How did and I'm gonna let you talk, Reek. How did he hold her accountable? I mean, you mean indirectly, because he never directly talked to her, right?
Well, somebody break out the scripture, but he told Eve that her desire will be for her husband, and through great traverseness she will deliver her offspring. Before that, there was just pure joy, and there was no pain, and there was no consciousness. There was you had to experience pain. You had to have a certain consciousness, and these two individuals, or the concept of these individuals, however you want to read it, they had no consciousness of good or evil. So they had no consciousness of of pain and pleasure. They just were existing under God's grace. But when they committed that act against God, then they start to have the trouble. He made man before that. He told Adam, and also because of this, now you're going to have to work for your food. You're going to have to work for your drink. You're going to have to work for your pleasure. Before that, they didn't have to work. They were just existing in the pleasure of the Lord, enjoying what God gave them. There was no, there was no drama in the garden. But after the act, then all the drama came, and we're still dealing with drama.
Sister Wanda, I stand corrected. You did speak to her directly, so I stand corrected.
Okay, can I jump in for a second real quick? Because Sister Joanna.
Oh, yeah, that's right. I interrupted you. Sorry.
No, that's okay. Because I don't want to lose this train of thought. And that's the only reason. Where you were spot on when you sat there and said, these broken men are creating these broken vessels, these women, and then they're crying about having to deal with the very thing they created. So, Mr. Rush, yourself, myself, we were talking earlier on the stream about how we were out here living. And I remember the last time you talked and you spoke about your friend giving these women what they deserve, the 6-foot guy, this, that, whatever. So all I'm saying is this is a space where a lot of these young men are out here early in life, living recklessly, creating all these bodies, as Sister Joanna said. There's no doubt or denying that we are creating in our teens and 20s body numbers just beyond imagination. But then when we get 35 and 40, we're looking for the very thing where the only place, as she said, mathematically, you destroyed all possibility of receiving. You're not going to get a virtuous woman out of a group that you, not you personally, you, me, and all of us expounded have run through. So we have no other choice but to accept the damage that we all created.
And Brother Rico, let us remind Brother Rush of something that is historical. Brother Rush, let's say about, I don't know, help me, Rico, but about 100 years ago, the average, I'm just saying the average man, he didn't have sex until he was married.
The average options like they do now.
And if you go back 300 years ago, help me, Brother Rico, a boy was not even allowed to marry if he was not considered a man. And what was a man 300 years ago? A person who could build his own home, who could provide the food, go out and hunt and do these things. But now fast forward, a boy can go out and produce a child. That was something that didn't exist 150 years ago. You had to, there was no dating, Brother Rush. You didn't, willy-nilly go out and, oh, you're pregnant. That was a big deal. Yeah. That was a huge deal. Men weren't running around having a whole bunch of women. If they ever got married, they weren't going around having sex with a bunch of women before they were married. There was a certain type of male 150 years ago that had a lot of sex with women. They will be called the Pookies and Ray Rays of today, and they were few.
But not
the majority.
Most 75 years ago, it's even less than that.
Most males are not copulating with women at a high rate. Women are a lot more sexually active than men.
The Brother Rush, I put it like this: if it is, let me just preface this: if women are, the margin is small. It's not. You're not going to tell me women are 5 times more sexually active than men, because as I told you, the premise is this: if a young lady has 50 requests in her inbox for a sexual excursion, she will decide which of those 50 they want. If a man get 50 requests, he's going to sleep with all 50 of them.
Yeah, but the average male is not getting 50 bodies in one round.
I get he's not going to get the number of requests, but I'm saying is that if the woman gets 50, she might choose 10. if the man get 15, he's going to choose all 15. So he still got a higher body count.
I don't think you understand how hard it is for a young male within a generation under me for him to get laid. It is very hard for that individual to get laid. It's not easy.
He's not supposed to be getting laid, Brother Rush.
It shouldn't be, but I
Brother Rush,
I don't know.
If I understand about Kevin Samuel's 80, 20 percentile, I understand what you're saying. You're saying that 80% of the women are having sex with only 20% of the men. I get that. But see, let's take it back for a second. That wouldn't be an issue if you just stop entertaining the sexual aspect of it altogether. But see, we've stopped doing that. We're a world of fornicators. See, that wouldn't be an issue. Your mind would not be on that particular fact, and it is a fact. It is a fact, Rush, that majority of women are having sex with a smaller amount of men, but that would not be an issue if we were not all fornicating.
But my question is even bigger than that. I mean, and well, this is why I don't accept the 80-20 nonsense. Do you know the prevalence of sexual activity that's occurring in middle school in America? Middle school. We're not even talking about high school. There are a lot of middle school kids in America that's sexually active. Too many with other middle school kids.
I've never heard of this. I will have to do my research on that.
There's a lot. There's a lot, sir. So I'm saying.
But Brother Rush, do you understand that you're not supposed to be having sex if you're not married?
No, I understand that. You know. But
okay, so if you and when you say you understand that, when you say you understand that, what I hear is that you accept that. And if you accept that, then your question or your ponderance, your thoughts should not be of, well, how does a guy get laid? You get laid when you make a commitment to God.
No. The only reason why I brought that up is because you're saying that men should be held accountable for the bad decisions that women make. But
no, what I'm bad decisions they make.
Hold on, yo, let me
go ahead,
hit you with this rebuttal. But my rebuttal to that is like, yo, 20%, like you said, only 20% of the men is busting down 80% of the women. You know what I mean? So I don't see how that's the men's fault. You know what I mean?
Mr. Rush, a
woman should be held accountable for actions on who she chooses to copulate. You know what I mean?
Okay, Mr. Rush.
Here is how it is.
That's all I want to know, and I'm gonna leave it alone, Joanna. Where's the evidence or the stat to say that 20% of the men are copulating with 80% of the women? I know.
Well, I just like to try to meet people, Brother Rico. I try to meet people where they are.
You have access to Google. You can look it up.
If this is Brother Rico, if it is
and it don't come up, that's all I'm saying.
Brother Rico, if it is a reality, I like to deal people with where they are in their thinking. If it is a reality, let's play that game. Let's play that game with them for a moment. If it is a reality that 80% of the women are having sexual relationships with 20% of the men, he asked, well, how do the rest of us get laid? You have to take it back first that you're not supposed to be getting laid.
That's not my premise to my rebuttal. I only said that because you're saying that men should be held accountable for the actions of women, and I'm saying that I don't agree with that. That's all I'm saying.
Well, the world has changed. The world has changed in the last 100 years, and men have made laws where women can act out their promiscuity nature in the way that they see fit. The laws weren't the way they used to be. Where a woman could just go out and do these things, but with entering the age of feminism and entering the age of the birth control. Women can now she can choose. See, and so she's not choosing certain men. Before she didn't have a choice. Before she did not have these choices.
Can I just interject for 1 second? And I want you to hang on. I want you to listen to it as well. And you also, Brother Rush, because you know I'm not going to let this 2080 go. Please explain to me, sir, how is that even geographically possible? If the population is spread all throughout the country, unless the 80% of the women and the 20% of the men are in the same place, it's not even geographically possible. Unless unless the 20% is traveling the country to have this random sex with the 80%, if black women are scattered all over the country, how is only 20% sleeping with them all?
It's called Instagram.
It's called what?
It's called Instagram. It's called hypergamy on steroids. Yo, let me tell you something. Let me hit you with this another rebuttal. The average chick could get online and get DMs by like, NFL players, basketball players, and they will get flown out. She not worried about she not worried about the guy that's working at Walgreens making $12 an hour while she could have the NFL player fly out.
I have a response to that, Rush.
On steroids, man.
I have a response
on steroids, man.
I have a response for that, Rush. I have a response to that. Men.
Let's let the lady give her response, and you fellas can give into it because we are gentlemen.
Thank you, Brother Clarence.
Okay.
Women are only doing what she is allowed to do by men. Now, you're going to say, well, what do you mean by that? She's on Instagram and she's receiving all these DMs privately and other men don't know and da-da-da-da. Men created, you've heard the song, If This Is a Man's World. Men created the world where women can do this. See, it didn't used to be this way. Men used to understand a woman's nature 300, 400 years ago. So much so that certain men used to put cast iron chastity belts around a woman's pelvis to keep her in line. Now, I'm not saying that's something that we should do, but even the culture used to permeate what the standard was. Men let go of the standards, Russ. You can't get away from that. Once men let go of the reins, once men create the culture, women pass along the culture to the children. Women don't create the culture.
I don't agree with it, man. Because a guy like me. Hold on.
Men created Instagram. Men created Instagram. Men created choices. Men created Facebook.
Hold on, Rush, let her finish. And then you got it, brother. Your floor.
Men created this Instagram that you brought up. Men created that. These apps that women can cheat on and hide the app on their phone. Men created that.
Wait, Sister Juana. There's a sister, but a white lady that created Bumble. She's a billionaire.
Okay, but all the intelligence that a woman's got, she got from a man. So I'm gonna continue on my premise, on my argument. The laws that benefit women that you spoke about, men created that. The laws that validate the woman and reward the woman after divorce, men created that. The current law now where women automatically get custody of the children, men created that. If it had not been for men, women wouldn't even have the right to vote. Women didn't get that on their own. Men created that. Men gave women all their rights to do what they could do. Whereas it's natural for a woman to have one man. Men came along and said, no, we want her to have as many men as she can handle. Okay, I'm done.
Well, my thing is this, man. I'm born into this, man. You know what I mean? Like I was born into this craziness that's going on in America right now, and I'm not accountable for that. You know what I mean? I was born into this, and I'm gonna handle things I need to handle accordingly. You know what I mean? And yeah, you're right, men. The simps that created the laws to allow 75% of the women to initiate divorce and to castrate a guy financially. Yeah, they did create these laws, man. But men like me that's born into this, man, I'm not held accountable for that, man. I'm just moving accordingly, like how I'm supposed to move, man. You know what I mean?
Well,
I hear you, and I hear you, and I respect that. For me, not to respect that would mean that I have a greater understanding than you, and I do not. As I said earlier in our comments, I am a sinner, so I understand what you're saying. I was born into a sinful world. I didn't come into it, sinful. I was born into a sinful world, and I was corrupted by sin. But through the grace of God, I've been redeemed and I've been saved. And you can make that choice for yourself, Brother Rush. And I hope you make it today. Amen.
All right, Rico, you should have the floor by now.
Okay. And Lord knows how I hate to belabor a point. But some things that are just so simplistic, and this is what I'm trying to debunk, because what I'm saying, Mr. Rush, is, brother, I love you. I love you to death. And it's not even about you. This is about me constantly trying to kill these tropes and these misleading stats that are about the Black community, Black women in particular, because it's like COVID. Once it's out there, it's damn near impossible to kill. I kill it, it morphs and turns into another life. I'm just saying, it's geographically impossible for 20% of something to consume 80% of something when they're not in the same space. So something can't be in two places at the same time. I get the being flown out. That is nowhere near the issues and the instances of Tristan Thompson and everybody else. That is such a marginal percentage. That's lucky if of all the football players, it ain't but 3,000 basketball players. It's probably about 1,500. Probably about 1,500 in the entire NBA, and they ain't all Black. Okay? The NFL's got like 3,500 football players. That's it. The NHL ain't got fucking none or barely any. The Major League Baseball got barely. So you're talking about from a pool of football and basketball players. That number is so minuscule. If they all were flowing them out every weekend, it wouldn't touch 1%. It just doesn't. So all I'm saying is, how is it possible that 20% of the men are fathering 80% of the children when geographically we know the mothers are scattered all over the country? I'm not saying it's 100 to 100. I'm just saying it's no way it can be 20%. It just, the math just and I suck at math. It's no way that could be not mathematically possible if they were all in the state of Florida. Okay,
we're not
all in the state of Florida.
Even, the birth rate has declined.
Sure.
And with the
but they're still having kids in New York, California, California, Missouri.
Yeah, Texas. But we have to factor in parenthood. You know what I mean? Men don't have reproductive rights. You know what I mean? So let me finish. Yeah. Let me finish, Mr. Rico. Yes, men don't have reproductive rights. So if a woman wants to be irresponsible with 10 guys, get knocked up by accident, she can murder that baby whenever as she please, and the man has no say-so of that. And there's a lot of that going on too. And that's one of the things you have to factor in why the birth rate is declining throughout the years. You know what I'm saying? People aren't getting married like this, like they were back in the day. The divorce percentage is over 50%. I mean, in the United States, man, just do the math, man.
No, I mean, men made it that way. Men made it that way, Russ. Men made it that way where women can do that, Russ.
In the United States, those numbers are accurate. You know what I mean?
Can I finish one thing? We're not talking about divorces. We're not talking about abortion. We're talking about births. The argument is, did 20% of Black men father 80% of Black children? can we agree on what the premise is? That 80%. So if 80 kids are born, it's only 20 fathers. That's what we're saying.
No, I think what the original premise, Rico, the original premise was just about in dating is what Rush is talking about.
Yeah.
He's not talking about he's not talking about procreation. He's just saying in dating that a greater number of females are choosing a small pool of the men. But see what he's leaving out is that small pool of the men aren't choosing those women for marriage.
Exactly. Or they're not. No, they're not even choosing them to procreate. Other men are procreating with them.
Exactly. The so-called simps.
80%.
Exactly. The so-called simps are procreating.
There's another 30% of simps out there that they're having kids with, so it might be 50 to 80. That's what I'm dispelling. I'm not dispelling that they don't want the 20. I'm dispelling that they don't get them because the number is too damn small for 80 of them to get to 20. So
of course,
and 120 guys, they're not gonna get them.
Of course, they're not getting them because women outnumber men 2 to 1.
Right.
There's two. Even if every woman, even if every marriage age person male married a woman, there would still be a million plus women left over who needed to be married. There's too many women to marry every single man on this landmass.
But Joanna, a perfect example. We had a party, 80 women show up, it's 20 dudes there. Everybody not gonna get a dance.
That's my point. That's my point.
Right.
And wait a minute, Rico. That's the point that that's the point that Rush is missing. That even if it was just 1 to 1, you know, every woman is not going to get a man.
No.
There's going to be leftovers. So those leftovers are probably going to have more sex. Are going to have more sex somewhere else and procreate somewhere else.
Thank you. That's all I'm saying. That logic doesn't make sense. And I'm saying, look at it on a geographical scale on the country where people are scattered all throughout. It's impossible that all these children were born in the same states by the same 20% of men.
I don't think, Brother Rico, I don't think he's saying that. I'm thinking he's saying, let's, for example, take Miami, New York, and LA. He's saying that 80% of the women in LA
cities want
exactly will be going after the 20% at the top percentile in that city. I don't think he's saying that. Yeah. Okay. So,
but even in that city, I don't believe that their success rate is still the same. I do believe, like in New York, 80% of the women want the top 20% of dudes in New York. I believe you 100% on there, Mr. Rush. In New York City.
And that's natural. That's natural in nature. The female always chooses to mate with the top male. That's just in nature. That's what Brother Rush has a hard time reconciling. Is that it is natural and it is built into the female, whatever species she is to choose.
He mentioned hypergamy. He mentioned that.
But my thing is this: the stat doesn't define to a generalized or a localized area. The stat just says 80% of Black children. They don't say across America, but they infer across America are fathered, because now when you're in the manosphere, you're hearing from people all over America, and they're all repeating the same trope. So I'm like, are you guys telling me 80% of Black children in America are fathered?
No, you're overlooking that. Rico, you're overlooking that women are exercising hypergamy on steroids. This is a real thing, man. And you can't dismiss that. You know what I mean? Because
go ahead.
Because these women are like, okay, if you sit down and speak to majority of women right now, you ask them what is the type of male you're looking for, they're gonna describe the top 20 percenters. He has to be 6 foot, he has to look good, pipe game gotta be on point, and he gotta have that money on point too. These are the things that naturally the average and the above average in looks what women are looking for, the top 20 percenters, and they overlook the average male. And the percentage of males being virgins at the age of like 30 is like, I think it's like 30%, either 30 or 35%. That's big, man.
Can I ask you one question, Mr. Rush? Okay, so that 80% in New York City of women want the top 20% of men. We agree, right?
Right.
In order for that logic, or in order for that math to work, then that 20% of men who are the top 20%, right? They're not the bottom 20, they're not the second 20, they're not the middle 20. I'm in the top 20. What the fuck do I want 80%? I only want the top 20. That bottom 60% ain't getting.
It don't work like that.
No, all I'm saying is that 80%, all of them ain't getting chose. So where they reproducing at, even in New York City, the 80% of the women, the top 20% might reproduce with the top 20%.
That's the point. The women are seeking. Majority of the women are seeking men that are emotionally unavailable, man. This is what they're attracted to.
It's who is the bottom 40% reproducing children with? Who are they getting pregnant by if the top 20% ain't knocking them up?
I mean, you might have remnants of Pookies and Ray Ray. You might have remnants of. Yo, let me finish.
So it's more than 20%.
No, it's not. You might have remnants of Pookies and Ray Rays sliding up on these chicks. You know what I mean?
So in New York City,
within the black community,
but
let me finish.
In New York
when
City,
you look within
20% of the top 20% of black men in New York City are responsible for 80% of the father. I mean, 80% of the kids. That's what you're telling me. Even in that city, that 80% of the black children in New York City are fathered by 20%, and it's only the top 20%.
They're not getting fathered.
Ain't got no kids.
One, these kids are not getting fathered. These chicks are just getting laid. They just reproducing. You know what I mean? So, right. Man, you are difficult. All right.
Think about it. I'm trying to get you to think, sir.
No, because it's like you're kind of dismissing the guys that. What about the middle-aged man that's in middle class that's single? There's a high 50% of the.
I have an answer for you, Rush. I have an answer.
50% of the black male within the black community are in middle class and they're single. So this proves my point that majority of the women are seeking the top 20%ers. And I guess you could tell me what you want to tell me, Miss Joanna.
So the middle class is the top 20%.
That's not what I'm saying.
Let's not get too caught up on hard statistics. Let's think about what we know. I'm going to concede to Brother Rush. Let me do this, Rico. I'm going to do this. Watch how I do this. Because it's natural for a female, no matter the species she is going to look to procreate, to mate with the top of her species. Correct? Okay. Now, when she seeks to do that, there's only so many. That's why it's the so-called 20%ers. So some of those women are going to get left out of marriage with these top 20%ers, and some of them are going to settle just for a baby or to be a side chick. But the majority of the females in America, the other 80%, like Brother Clarence was alluding to, so let's say 60% of the rest of the women or the rest of the men who are not being chosen by these women. These same men, these 35%ers who are virgins, These other percentages who are what they would call incels, they don't want those majority of the women that's in the 80%. They're just like the women. They only want a certain type of woman.
I disagree. I
See,
disagree.
see, they're being choosy as
That's
well.
not true. That's not true. Listen,
that's a great deal. A part of the issue. People don't choose in their own lane is the issue. People are trying to choose
I
up
disagree.
and trying to instead of choosing laterally, they're trying to choose up. But what they need to choose is in their own lane. That's why I referred to 100 or so years ago. Back in the day, you didn't have farm boys trying to marry the mayor's wife or trying to get with the star on the stage or the prominent singer. But that's who these men want. These other other men who are not big in the 20%, they want the same higher echelon of woman that the 20%ers are getting.
That's not true. They might want a chick that's attractive, yeah, but they're not seeking for the top 20% of female. That makes no sense. Males don't do that.
It does make sense. I'm a woman, and it does make sense. And it's across the board, Brother Rush, that people are always choosing what they are not instead of choosing what they are. And when you choose what you are, then there's a greater chance that you will be mated. But it's when we choose outside of our, of what we are, then there's an issue.
Listen, men are a lot. My bad, clients.
Okay, Brother Rush. Appreciate you. Sorry to interrupt you, brother. Time is coming in on us, man. So we got to wrap this up. So I want to let everybody give their final thoughts, and then we'll meet back here. Maybe Thursday we'll meet back here and try to work it out. But right now, yeah, time is closing in on us, so we gotta get moving. So I'm gonna give everybody a chance to give their final thoughts, and then we will shut it down. And I thank you all for coming. Thank everybody in the chat for stopping by. I appreciate y'all, man. Appreciate y'all for putting the questions out there. All right, Brother Rico.
All right. Thank you again, Brother Clarence, for inviting me up again. And especially thank to you, Brother Rush. I love you. I love your challenges. I love it all. And again, like I said, push back on everything. Joanna, girl, who knew? Who knew me? You could see eye to eye so much. But I mean, I do. I mean, like you were just killing me today. I 100,000% support your positions on everything. With everything you said, Brother Rush, and like I said, I'm gonna push back on you, but I'm not pushing back on you because of any offense to you as a person, but just the ideas and the beliefs. And I could be wrong. But you're gonna have to show me with empirical evidence where I'm wrong. I appreciate you coming up and being that young voice that'll say, "Hey, I'm gonna come up here with these old heads, me, Sister Juana, and you, the young
shout out to Rush.
And you come up and you challenge us." But I hope everything I said to you was in a respectful manner and a manner, because definitely you deserve a great deal of respect of anybody that's also on my level, and also that I learned from you. I learned a lot of things from you, and I hope that maybe something that I said maybe get you thinking a little bit. Say, maybe this old fool ain't always a fool. But again, thank you. It was a blessed night. I love it as always, and I'll see you on the next stream, sir. Same thing, Sister Juana. I love you. I love you. I love you. You rocked it out. You were dead on. You were dead on. Thank you for holding all three men on here accountable.
As always. Brother Rush, we're going to give Sister Juana the last word. So, Brother Rush, got any closing remarks, brother?
Yeah, man. Salute to the panel. You guys are great. Definitely. You guys got crazy wisdom, and I'm open to learning. And for the dudes out there, man, yo, remain sucker free. If you're getting into a relationship with a chick, just know that she for the streets. You know what I mean? Yo, I'll catch you on the flip, Clarence, man.
Hey,
One
man,
love.
thank you, Brother Rush. Always a solid performance. Thank you, brother. Appreciate you, man. All right, Sister Juana.
Thank you, Brother Clarence. Thank you to the panel. Thank you, Brother Rico. I love you too. Yeah, we agree this time. We may not always agree, but we agree on these points. And we don't, wherever two people agree, God is present. But understand that, I love you regardless. And Brother Rush, you have a lot to offer to all of us. And I'm definitely not condemning any of the talking points that you espoused. I happen to be a fan of Kevin Samuels, and I'm going to lose some points with Rico on this. I happen to be a fan of Kevin Samuels, and he, one of the things that he speaks on about a lot is about. So if you don't go ahead and choose, a man or a spouse, you risk buying a dog and dying alone. For women, for a woman, I would like to just profoundly state that it's not the dying alone that we fear; it's the living alone. Wow. And that is the question, and that is the premise for it. If we do not become more engaged in our relationships. And I think Brother Clarence has done an excellent job to keep us mindful, to be engaged in our relationships with one another, whether romantically or professionally or in a friendship. And keep up the good work, Brother Clarence. We're here for you. We support you. We embrace all ideals. I embrace all ideals because I'm not a perfect person. So I'd like to end with that. And thank you so much, everybody.
Yeah, thank you, Sister Juana. Thank you. Appreciate it. Thank you, Rico and Sister Juana. I'm going to take you guys down so I can do my closing remarks. Okay, what do y'all think? What did y'all think? Did Sister Juana hit it out of the park again? Yes. Rico hit it out of the park again? Yes. What about Brother Rush? Phew. Brother Rush's ball is still going out of the park, right? Solid performance out of everybody. That's what I like about here. You know what I mean? It's not a whole bunch of saying, I agree with you, Rico. I agree with you, Rush. I agree with you, Juana. You'll hear that one go round, and then the next go round, they all go getting at each other, right? That's what you need. You need healthy pushback so that you can challenge your ideas. I didn't even get off a lot of my stuff, but that's okay. I enjoyed seeing them set their argument up, present it, defend it, and then listen to the other person's argument. I enjoyed watching that chess match that they were all playing. It was very entertaining for me. So, you know what I mean? So that's what you should do. If you have a belief system, whether you believe one way or the other way, you should always be prepared to defend it. You should know, like when they teach debate class, they teach you not only to know your argument, but to know your opponent's arguments and be able to defend their likely arguments towards you. So that's how you know you're rooted in something solid, because it can stand up to, like Rico say, to the scrutiny. If you believe something, it should stand up to the scrutiny, right? All right, y'all. Hope we helped somebody out here. Hope we gave you all kind of different ways to look at the situation, good, bad, and ugly. And so now y'all thought it was our job. No, it's your job. Now the work goes. Now the ball is in your court. Now you got to figure out what you're going to do based on the stuff that we told you. Now you got to figure out for yourself how you're going to move. Okay? Don't put it on us. We just up here talking. We just up here introducing ideas to you. Now the hard part is on you. You got to decide. You got to put it to work, test it, and see if it works for your life. What I say might not work for you, but what Rico said might work for you. And what Rico said might not work for you, but what Brother Rush might said work for you. What Brother Rush said might not work for you, but what Sister Juana might have said might work for you. So it's up to you. You decide. This ain't no place where we tell you what to do. We just introduce you to different ideas and then tell you go out and explore them. All right? So we'll see y'all on the next live stream. Thank y'all for stopping by, and peace.